Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
And welcome into Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes here on CW11 as we got a great show ahead of us. Another series making their series debut here in 2022, the Granite Super Sprint Cars. My name is Skylar Ope alongside Caleb Hart tonight.
It's Hill Street Cleaners Night at the racetrack, and we're going to lead off with the Thunder and Lightning division. Here come the Granite Super Sprint Car Series, first out of the gate, and again, the fastest cars that we have at Evergreen Speedway, highest horsepower, lightest weight. We're going to put them on the 3/8 mile track and kick our night off with that, but a lot of fun to be had across the board as well. We have got the Interstate Batteries Hornets Youth Hornets, we've got the Buzz In Steakhouse Stinger 8s coming up, and Street Stocks to finish our night off.
Oh yeah, Street Stocks, they've been so exciting this year. I cannot wait for that main event later on, especially with the possible wet stuff in the area. We don't want to say the R word, especially in racing. Don't want to say the R word. So that's why we're moving the sprint car main event here forward, the first thing here in the show, because we're trying to beat that possible weather later on in the night. So, hey, sprint cars right away. These guys have been itching all off season, and finally they get to their day, their moment to shine. And it's a nice, cool, damp track. And, I mean, what do these drivers have to expect going in front of them?
Well, there's nothing quite like an asphalt sprint car. It's amazing the horsepower to weight ratio they have. And then they get in the corner and they stick. Plus, they've got all of the downforce and side bite that's put out there by the top wings, by the nose wings, and the aerodynamics of the car itself. Especially with a cooler night as well, like we're going to have. Engines run better. Cool air changes the fueling system and actually adds some horsepower. So as fast as these guys normally are, they're going to get a little extra giddy up and go here tonight, and especially with a racetrack too that's a little bit cooler. It doesn't have the hot temperatures, isn't going to overheat everything, so the tires are going to stay grippy and gummy for even longer on the track. I think it's going to be a fantastic main event.
Exactly. That's a good word, gummy. I like that for when it comes to tires. Get that nice grip. So for those fans of you guys at home have never seen sprint car racing, especially asphalt sprint car racing, you guys are in for a treat as they're starting to get pushed off and fired up right here at Evergreen Speedway, and it's about to get real exciting and really loud really quick.
There they are, the fire-breathing Granite Super Sprint Car Series out on the racetrack, and you can see them swerving back and forth, kind of like you do when you're watching Formula One or IndyCar or anything like that. They're trying to scrub some heat into the tire and get them up to optimal operating temperature before we cut them loose. And usually you'll actually give them a hot lap or two just to, again, get that extra little warm-up into the tire. Great field of cars here tonight for the opener as well.
Exactly. Let's get to know his starting lineup as they get those heat in the tires. The rest of the field gets pushed off as well. You'll see them. They'll throw the green flag for them. It's under yellow conditions, so they're not actually racing yet, but they're just going to be getting some heat in their tires, heat in the engines, getting the cars all ready to go, as they are very precision machines. So on the front row, we got the 7D of Randy Dubois, sponsored by Geico, and his outside, the 12 of Cameron Neisinger, sponsored by Granite Construction.
Incredibly interesting row number 2. It's the 57 of Evan Margison on the inside. Next to Evan, it's going to be Cody Ridge. Cody, really known as a dirt guy, coming here to play on the pavement. Car number 91, he's sponsored by First Line Systems, Inc.
Row number 3 is made up of Jay Dishnu in the First Line Systems Inc.'s number 9 machine, and his outside, the 14 of Aaron Willison, making the trek down from BC.
Row number 4, Thomas Richardson, car number 41, the Woodinville Import Auto Repair car. Starting 8th, rookie on the field, Jacob Austin into the series now, outside row number 4 in the 15.
Yeah, great to see him. We've seen him in a lot of Focus Midget stuff before. I think we've seen him in Focus Midget at Evergreen Speedway before, too, so great having him back out here, moving up the open wheel ranks. Next row is made up of the 44 of Todd Coleman, sponsored by Fleet Service, and his outside, the 40 of Michael Newman of First Line Systems, Inc., and Newman owns quite a few cars out here, so it's cool seeing him jump into one for once.
It's been many years since Mike actually was in a car in a competitive environment, so that's going to be kind of exciting and fun. We also have Chase Sabato out on the field. First Line Systems Inc. sponsors the 19 car starting at position 11, so great mix of youth, great mix of experience, guys who have been there and got the job done before, and guys who are looking to crack into victory lane. Really cool to have Willison come down, the multiple-time Rory Price winner in his own right, so going to be interesting to see what he can do to weave up through the field. We know how good Evan Margison is in basically any open-wheel car that he jumps into, and then the veteran Todd Coleman coming to the back of the field as well, so they're starting up front, they're starting in the middle, they're starting in the back. A lot of stuff can happen here.
Yeah, last time we saw Aaron Wilson was actually at the Rory Price last year, and he was leading and then made contact with the lab car. We saw him go 360ing off into the turn 3 grass. Thankfully, it kept the wing side down, or kept wing side up, didn't flip over, as that was a scary incident. So he's back looking for redemption because we haven't seen him since then. But yeah, great field 11 super sprints, ready to take the thunder right now as we are getting close to line him up and let him loose.
Yeah, the guy who jumped on the opportunity and ended up taking the win in that one is outside row number 1, Cameron Neisinger. So he is there. You've got Willison a couple of rows in behind him. Our defending champion, Reese Getz, not in attendance, so that opens the door up for a new points winner in the division this year.
Exactly.
And you got to start it off well, get a win on opening night.
Exactly. Yeah, they only have, I think they run 5 or 6 races a year, so points really matter compared to some of the other divisions that run 10 or 11. As there we see one to go from John Peterson in the flag stand, so these guys are itching to get going. It's gonna get really loud here. It's like we cannot stress enough how magnificent these machines are. You want to experience them. Come out next time they're on the schedule at Evergreen Speedway and see them in person, because you really feel the cars when they hit the throttle right here coming off turn 4.
Slowly idling up, mashing the loud pedal, coming off of 4. The methanol-fueled, flame-throwing sprint cars coming at you. Green flag is out, and it's Dubois getting the early jump on the inside groove.
Yeah, if you saw back in row number 3, the red number 9 at Jay Dishnu, he got a little sideways getting on that gas pedal, so he got really loose coming off the corner. But leading lap number 1's be Randy Dubois as they come thundering down the front straightaway right there.
Neisinger is in second. Margison sits in the 3rd position, opening the door to the bottom just a little bit for Willison. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot for the sprint cars to get through. As opposed to the stock cars, they don't spend a ton of time side by side. You don't want to be that way. You want to be up through and then causing some aerodynamic problems for the guy in behind you, because there's a lot of turbulent air that gets caused off the back of the top wings of these things. So Willison quickly into 3rd and trying to hunt down 2nd as Dubois stretching on Neisinger.
Yeah, Randy Dubois getting a nice lead out front, and that clean air means everything. As you see him coming to slow down, the yellow lights that are on is getting word of the 44. Yeah, right there, the 44 Todd Coleman going through the grass. So we'll see if he's able to continue on. He is able to save and keep the car fired up. Now he's shaking the tires off, so looks like no harm, no foul. Hopefully Todd Coleman able to continue to take the end of the field, and let's get this thing back green.
You know, if there are parts broken on the Coleman car, one of the things about sprint cars is that these are purpose-built specific cars. It's not like you can go to the auto parts store and find something right off the shelf and put onto a sprint car. However, if you need parts for your automobile, Advance Auto Parts, proud supporter of the NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series and Evergreen Speedway. Whether you're looking for a part for your vehicle or advice on your next do-it-yourself car project, Advance's team of experts are here to help. Try Advance's free in-store or curbside pickup. Find the Advance nearest you at advanceautoparts.com.
And be sure to go online to Advance My Track Challenge. Vote for Evergreen Speedway. You can do it up to 3 times a day. As we're in the running, we're in the top 20 tracks of NASCAR tracks across the country. So it's a really cool deal to be a part of the Advance My Track Challenge as we get the sprint cars line back up. Looks like Coleman's able to continue, so looks like just a harmless half spin, go through the grass. I mean, these aren't dirt sprint cars, but he took it off-roading for a little bit. But able to continue at the end of the field as we get set, hopefully lights out this time by.
And an interesting side-by-side restart. One of the fun things about this division is they go side-by-side on the restarts. It causes a lot of opportunity for passing, as we're going to give him the 1-to-go signal this time by. So Neisinger, who had fallen back from Dubois was taken off from him, now gets all of that track position back up and doesn't have to start behind him in the turbulent air as well. It'll be a chance for Neisinger to kind of redo the opening lap once again.
Yeah, we got Margison and Willison there in row number 2. So that's going to be that's a very stacked second row. It's very intimidating if you're looking behind you as the green flag flies once again. Great jump for Randy Dubois. He's going to be able to clear Neisinger. Neisinger looks down to the inside for a second as they're going to be side-by-side battle coming off the corner.
Neisinger went to school on that first start, couldn't quite make the pass. Here's Willison, peeks to the inside, backs out of the throttle. Extremely responsive throttle again because of the horsepower to weight ratio. And you can see Willison picks back up, drives right underneath Neisinger. He's already into second.
Yeah, it looks like Cameron's fighting a loose race car. It looks like he can never really get the throttle all the way down coming off the corner, which really allowed Willison to get a great run down the front straightaway and ultimately take over that second spot. As Jay Dishnu, he's coming in hot right behind Neisinger now, looking for thirds. We watched the battle for first. Now here comes Aaron Wilson, that orange 14, hunting down Randy Dubois as this battle for third really starting to heat up as well.
Yeah, Dubois had a little push in the middle of the corner. Wilson's going to be able to make some time up on him in a hurry. You mentioned Neisinger fighting a loose race car. It is tough to combat a loose race car early because as you burn fuel load off, and in some extreme circumstances, you can burn a gallon a lap. I mean, we're talking a lot of poundage coming off the back of that race car. It only makes the cars looser as the race goes on as we look at the race for the lead.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much turbulent air there is. There's nothing slowing down Aaron Wilson right now. He's going to dive down to the inside, trying to peek to the inside of Randy Dubois down the front straightaway. Not quite enough to make it happen right there, as he's just going to kind of go to school. Now that he's caught Randy, he knows he's got about 20 laps left to make a move, so he doesn't need to do anything too drastic too early, but also doesn't want to use up his equipment trying to get around him and then ultimately burn up those tires and not have anything to make the pass. So you can't sit back here too long. You got to try to make a move early enough, but he does know he has a little bit of time. Doesn't need to do anything too drastic.
So watching Dubois is running an interesting line where he's letting the car drift just a little bit at mid-corner. For a second, I thought it was a push, but then he's coming down and really closing the door hard off the bottom of the turn. It's actually more of a line than it is a problem in getting his race car to handle, and it's effectively keeping Willison without a gap underneath him, although you saw the closing speed that he came up with on the front straightaway to shoot the bottom going into one. Wow.
Yeah, that's similar how he made the pass on Cameron Eisinger for second place. Just carried all the momentum he could off of turn number 4 and just dove it hard down in that front, that turn 1. A little bit of runoff that they have where it really flattens out, and that's a really tough move to make. Aaron Wilson made it look really easy, but all that transition change, because it's hard to tell, he really flattens out the car right there on that flat part when he dives way below the white line on the racetrack. And it really can upset the car. So for him to be able to carry that much speed and be able to hang on to it, make the pass, very impressive. It looks like he's going to have some lap traffic to start dealing with now.
Yeah, now he's going to start picking them off. But the good news is that they're spread out fairly single file for him to do that. Meanwhile, let's look backwards a little ways. 6th and 7th going to battle. Thomas Richardson in the 41 and Cody Ridge in car number 91 in your screen for 6th and 7th position.
Yeah, in season 1 of Home Track Heroes, you saw that 41 car in victory lane on the podium a few times with Chance Crum behind the wheel. So we know that that's a very competitive car. And then obviously we've seen Reese Getz Chase Getz behind the wheel, the number 91 before as well. So that car's been on the podium many times as well. So it really goes to tribute how strong of a field of sprint cars we have here at Evergreen Speedway.
Cody just getting back into it. He took a long time off, worked on family, and now got a sprint car ride once again, trying to come forward on the field as we'll take another look at Willison already past halfway here.
Yeah, there we go, just past halfway. Got a little bit faster cars now. He's going to have to deal with is the 12 Cameron Eisinger. You see a trail of fluid behind that car. Tough break for what was your third place runner. That's going to put Jay Dishnu now up on a podium spot. But like I was saying, he's got some fast cars he's going to have to deal with, that turbulent air. Can't make any mistakes. Sometimes these guys don't know that the leaders are coming up on them as quick as they are. Oh, we got trouble. There's third place, Jay Dishnu, we just mentioned.
Yeah, Dishnu looks like he has pulled and wrapped the tire around the inside of it. So Dishnu with problems coming off the 4th corner. 16 of 30 laps complete, so we're over halfway, and well, Dishnu, that's going to be tough to fix getting the tire all the way on unless they got the spare and can make the hot pit here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we'll try to get a tow truck out to him and so see what they're able to do. But that is a very tough break, cutting that tire, spinning out. Thankfully, everyone was able to avoid him. But we're going to see the checkered flag actually come out now early as the rain is starting to fall. And this is one of the few series here at Evergreen Speedway that it will not run in the rain. And we tried to beat Mother Nature. We tried to get the race in the best we could to give these guys all their laps. But the fortunate part about this, though, is that the rain came under caution and not while the guys were at speed at green. So
yes, it did.
That little bit of precipitation with these high horsepower machines is not a good combination at all.
Well, congratulations to Aaron. He gets the victory, albeit a little bit abbreviated. Dubois second, and then Evan with an A. Margison coming up in 3rd position. And let's go down to Derek Todoroff with our podium interviews.
All right. First off, who's up here with you?
This is Audrey, my daughter. She's 3.5. Really happy to be here.
All right, you had a great race. Talk us through it. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, we had an outstanding Tri-X group hot rod tonight. It was we missed it a little in the heat race. We went back, made some changes, got the car a lot better, and we had a really good time racing with Cameron and Randy Dubois there. It was a ton of fun.
How does it feel being in front of these Evergreen Speedway fans?
We're super happy to be here. This is our first race of the year. We're happy to get down here. We're really thankful that the crew at Evergreen Speedway got us some time in and got a race in tonight with the inclement weather.
And who would you like to thank for tonight?
Tri-X Group, the Keg Steakhouse, Greater Victoria. Smart Wash, they keep the truck looking good, and everyone takes great care of us.
Well, you had a good battle there for a while with Aaron Wilson. How did that feel for you?
It was good. You know, we made some changes to our car, and it was just a tick tight. I couldn't hold it on the bottom very well, so left a big opening for Aaron there, and he took advantage. And we were trying to gather it up and trying to reel him back in, but it was did the best we could. We had a pretty decent car, and everything went pretty well today. It was good.
All right. And how does it feel to be back in front of Evergreen Speedway's fans?
Oh, man, it's great to be racing again, and great that the track tried real hard to get this race in. And gosh, if the rain had just held out another 20 minutes, I think we could have had a good fight to the finish. But unfortunately, it is what it is.
Got anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Well, I'd like to thank my team and Doug and the whole staff and everyone for coming out, and my lovely wife, Janet.
Well, Evan, it looked like you had a great race. How did it feel for you?
I mean, we were okay. I don't know if we were a third place car or not, but we kind of got gifted that there at the end. So, yeah, just thankful. I think our car is a little bit better for this year. We did quite a bit of work in the off season on it. So, yeah, looking forward to the rest of the year.
Got anyone you'd like to thank for your performance tonight?
Yeah, I do. RZ, car owner, he's awesome. Gives me everything I need. Westlake Properties, Fleet Service, Frankie's Pizza. I'm sure I'm forgetting other people too, but yeah, thanks to all the fans too for braving this weather. I know it's cold out.
Welcome back to Home Track Heroes on the CW11. Sprint cars are done for the night. Try to get them in. Sorry we couldn't make it all the way. However, we have got the Interstate Batteries Youth Hornets coming up. We're going to put them on the short track, showcase our second track of the night here, and a really good field of Youth Hornets in competition this evening.
Oh, yeah, huge deal. When I saw all of them coming through the back gates and signing up, I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is the future of Evergreen Speedway. We're watching 12 to 14-year-olds driving full-size cars. It doesn't get any more entertaining than that. Come on. You got to love this stuff.
Let's meet some of your Home Track heroes as they come out 2 by 2 for what's going to be a 25-lapper around the 5th mile. And on the pole for this one, we should see Bryson Wingfield in 65. Tony Hill is his sponsor. Lila Byrne next to him, car number 31.
Row number 2 is made up of the white side steel 01 of Tanner Bjornson, and his outside is the 19D of Elijah Duffel, sponsored by Mazda of Everett.
Pretty good third row here. Olivia Reppin had an awesome opening night. Snoqualmie Casino, the sponsor on car number 44. Next to her, Diesel Snyder, the 717, sponsored by Hair Inc.
And then we got the 195 of Devin Jenkins making up the inside of row number 4, and his outside, the 20, the always fast Riley Riddell, sponsored by DL Enterprises.
Keep your eye on Paisley Bender. She may be a factor in this one. Car number 18 is sponsored by Wagley Creek Automotive, starting 9th. Starting 10th, the 17 of Owen Craig, sponsored by Rick Chevron.
11th on the field is another fast kid, the 45 of Chevy Vincent. I mean, if your name's Chevy, you got to be fast. Right?
I would hope so.
Yeah, it's a law. And his outside is the 14 of Preston Brandt, sponsored by Skyline Decals.
Final starter, 51, Cayenne Spear, Quality Auto Transport, the sponsor on that car. As you see the drivers making their pace laps in behind Evergreen Speedway pace car, and the lights are out on the pace car.
That means 1 to go, so we're getting ready to let these 12 to 14-year-olds loose on the 1/5 mile. That bright pink car is Cayenne Spear. You're not going to be able to miss her this week.
No, she shows up well, that's for sure.
It's cool seeing all the kids that are able to kind of put a little bit of their personality into their cars, especially a 12 to 14-year-old, and you get a full-size car to go kind of make your own. It's a really cool deal, and
right.
I love seeing that at Evergreen Speedway. It's awesome. And these kids get to go to school on Monday, and hey, I was racing a car this weekend. What'd you do?
That's right. Riley Riddell was your opening week winner here on Home Track Heroes. Green flag is out, and Bryson Wingfield will lead them down the front row.
As they tear down turn number 1, we're going to go 3 wide early because why not? Reppin and Snyder getting at each other. They're going to push Delfell up. Hey, let's go 4 wide down the back straightaway. Why not? We got the room now.
Devin Jenkins says, beep, beep, coming through, makes his way. Is there still 3 wide getting into the corner? Vincent inside. Snyder is getting made a sandwich out of between him and I think Owen Craig out there. Meanwhile, it's Wingfield with a whole mess of cars coming behind him, just 2 by 2 lined up in a row.
Yeah, and Riley Riddell, he's playing the patient game. We talked about that a lot the first week, is especially on these shorter races, only 20 laps for these kids. You got to be patient, but you also can't wait too long, or else you're going to get stuck way in the back of the pack. And if they stay green, you're not going to have a chance to even catch the leader. But you also don't want to tear your car getting up, as we see Paisley Bender right there battle the outside of Chevy Vincent for about the 5th spot on track, as Chevy's going to get a good run at the inside.
This is your battle for the lead. Wingfield in 65. Behind him, Tanner Bjornson in 01. They wash a little bit wide, and On the inside, Vincent really has moved his way up quite nicely, already threatening for second, bringing Rudell with him.
Yeah, started 11th on the field with Chevy Vincent. He's going for second. He's possibly going to have a chance to go to the inside for third. We're going to go 3 wide. Riley Rudell taking the long way around in that 20 machine. So Riley Rudell, he's up battling for the second spot now. He's going to look for the lead going down the front straightaway as they got lap traffic right here. Going to maybe try to use Cayenne Spear as a pick. And he's going to do that successfully. So 4 laps in, Riley Rudell is your race leader with Chevy Vincent, and now hunt him down in second.
Wow, first time we've really seen a driver go 3 wide through a corner on the far outside and make it work. That's how good Rudell is. That's how good that race car is. 5 laps to go from 10th up into your lead. Vincent from 11th to 2nd, just hoping to keep him in striking distance here as they are 1-2, and I would assume they're already stretching, but that lead is going to be erased right now. Caution on the racetrack.
Yeah, that is the 18 of Paisley Bender coming to a stop, possibly some contact with her, and it maybe killed the car. You know, some of these younger drivers maybe killed the car, couldn't quite reach the clutch in time, or they're still learning. I mean, these are stick shift cars, so it's a lot going on for these drivers. She gets it fired back up and gets pointed back in the right direction.
If you'll remember Bender, too, that was the car that she had intended to run on opening night here on Home Track Heroes as well. However, that car had some problems in hot laps that night. They had to switch to the backup car. So first full night on that car for Paisley Bender, and now to the back of the pack. We'll see how she does coming up on this restart.
Yeah, it's good to see the car still rolling at least, so she's able to take that in the field and hopefully finish out the rest of this main event, as this segment is brought to you by All City Fence, locally owned and operated since 1953. All City Fence is now serving Snohomish County. For your free no-obligation estimate, visit allcityfence.com. As we get set to release the kids again, as Riley Rudell, he's off to a hot start. He won the first Youth Hornet main event. Now he's early here leading. Next week on Home Track Heroes, you'll be able to see him make an appearance in the Pro 4 truck. So it's a lot of exciting stuff here for Riley Rudell on Home Track Heroes in 2022 as the green flag is back out in the air. He's got a mirror full of Chevy Vincent.
Exciting young driver leading Vincent down row. Now, you've got a 1/5 of the mile track here. Things can happen very, very quickly, so Rudell has got to keep attention, can't afford to take a lap off or let anything lapse, and Vincent, a good driver, run to his own, so Rudell's going to have to be on it. There's no coasting here for the final 14.
Exactly, yeah, and the weather is still in the area. We've had rain off and on all night, as you see a little bit of a damp track right here, and we're going to have one car slipping and sliding right there. That was the 14, I believe, of Preston Brandt sliding around off of turn number 4, but lap traffic's going to come into play early here for Riley Rudell, and it's going to be wet and slippery as well.
You just used the R word. You know that, right? You've cursed us on the night. Yeah. Uh-oh. Well, now it's guaranteed. We're going to have some precipitation at some point in time. However, all the divisions that are left on our card run in the precip. So we're not going to stop. We're just going to keep on steamrolling through at this point.
Exactly. As we see Owen Craig trying to utilize that outside line to make up some more positions, battling with the 001. That is Bjornsson, and the 195 of Jenkins as well. So using that outside line as Owen Craig.
Looks good, too. Washes way wide. Battling next to Jenkins, coming up on Wingfield, who was your early race leader, and Wingfield doing a good job just kind of protecting the bottom, the short way around the racetrack. However, you can see Owen Craig's got some car speed coming up around Spear, and they make a Spear sandwich getting into the corner.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of how this Wingfield lost the race lead originally, was he was kind of hugging the bottom too much and not carrying quite enough speed, and we saw the great three wide move from Riley Rudell. And it also, when lap traffic is there and you don't really have anywhere else to go and you're hugging that bottom line, it makes it really tough as well. So right now that's going to put Owen Craig up to the 3rd spot with Wingfield sitting right there in 4th.
If we get another look at Wingfield, and especially coming down this front straightaway, we're going to be able to see something here. The cars go fastest when they are allowed to make a circle, and you can see how hard that car continues turning down into the left. He's making squares, not circles really at this point in time. If you let the car just drift up, let the tires point naturally and straight, he's not going to scrub as much speed, and he'll actually improve his lap time. Yes, you give up protecting the bottom a little bit, but carrying more speed gets you further away from him. As you see, Olivia Reppin uses Paisley Bender as a bumper.
Yeah, 4. Sometimes 8 tires stop better than 4, but like you mentioned there, Riley Rudell coming all the way up against the wall, down nice and tight in the corners, and all the way up. Using the extra runoff that we have now on the 1/5 mile. That's just kind of how the car naturally wants to go. You're able to carry a lot more speed that way, using a little less brake as well. So it's just something these drivers are going to learn. I'm sure eventually we'll see Wingfield start to move up. Instead of just hugging that bottom line, we'll see him kind of move up and do more of a natural racing line. As we saw, that was Cayenne Spear going up on the 3/8 mile. She's a little eager to move up classes, it looked like.
Yeah, she is, as you're watching Rudell put a lap on Jenkins here. So he's up to lapping inside the top 10 easily, and maybe knocking on the door of the top 5. Is that's Snyder on the inside, and Snyder is 5th. So Rudell, with 5 to go, is lapping 5th. Wingfield is in target range and looking to lap 4th. He's got him at the line.
Yeah, so all the way up to 4th lap. So that just shows how strong Riley Riddell is. We're maybe 12, 13 laps in this green flag run, so it didn't take long for the 20 car to really check out and open up the gap on the field as we're coming up on 3 to go this time by.
Let's give you guys a little more racing terminology. So we call the center of the turn, the exact midpoint of the corner, the apex of the corner. And at the apex of the corner, right about center mark, which is going to be just before that Uke tire on the south end, and going to be right beyond that tire that he went by on that end, is the center of the turn. You want to be low on the racetrack there and then float up from there before coming back low at corner entrance as we got a car spun out in the back straightaway.
Yeah, caution's going to come out with 2 laps remaining. That was the 195 of Devin Jenkins, who was just outside of the top 5 battling it out as well. He's kind of in that big cluster of cars we just saw Riley Riddell go around. So some contact there, left him sideways, and never really want to leave a driver's side door on a straightaway exposed. So we're going to go to caution there, re-rack the field, which, hey, that's going to give Chevy Vincent and Owen Craig both a chance. They're still on the lead lap. Lap cars between them, but they got a chance to try to hunt down Riley here at the end with a 3-lap shootout.
Anything can happen on a restart. Vincent's got to be hoping that 65 of Wingfield just kind of pulls up right onto his back bumper to get as close and as tight as you can be there, and hope maybe that Riley misses a shift or something happens.
Yeah, I mean we have the little bit damp conditions as well too. So maybe Riley overcooks into one. Anything could happen here on a 3-lap shootout. Wingfield's going to go back down to his low racing line we mentioned before, and here comes Chevy Vincent trying to get around. He's got to get around Wingfield early enough to try to make a move. And Wingfield has the other ideas. He's going to try to unlap himself and get to the inside of Riley Riddell. This might be perfect for Chevy Vincent here in that 45.
Interesting what happens there, and I wonder if something's gone wrong with Riddell's car here in the late stages, as it just does not have the same get up and go. In fact, you just saw it hiccup going through 1 and 2, and there's Vincent to the bottom showing him a nose.
Yeah, so the 65 is not is not on the lead lap, so he's not battling for the race lead right here. It's the 20 and the 45 that we're keeping our eyes on. But the 65 at Wingfield's doing a great job showing how strong of a car he really does have. Or maybe, like you said, problems for the 20 as the white flag is out in the air. It's the last lap right now.
Could very well be figuring out, too, as he started taking those corners a little bit different. But at the very end, Riddell clears him, gets by, Wingfield bobbles, and for the second week of the year, Riley Riddell gets the victory ahead of Chevy Vincent, and Owen Craig getting his first podium, taking position 3.
Yeah, so that got exciting there at the end. I mean, you never know with lap cars. We're talking about how quickly Chevy was going to need to get by him to have a chance at it. But hey, Wingfield did a good job of battling on, and I mean, he doesn't have to move over. He has every right to try to unlap himself there. As we're going to head on down to the Angel Wins podium with your top 3 and Derek Todoroff for interviews.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 14 years old.
And did you have a favorite part of that race?
Probably that end part, running right there with them going the 2 wide for those few laps there at the end.
Now, we in the booth loved your move. You took it 3 wide and then managed to get into the lead. How did that feel from your perspective?
That was a little sketchy. I had to kind of back off there at the start of that because I didn't want to go to the wall. It really sucks when you go there. But yeah, I just backed off and then put it through the corner and it stuck, so made it work.
Got anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank DL Enterprise, 2.5 Men Barbecue, Joe's Racing Products, Oberg Filters, Cox Wheels Racing, JBR Racing, and everybody who works on the car and got me here today.
How'd that feel?
It felt pretty good.
You had a favorite part of that race for you?
Probably trying to pass Riley at the last lap.
Got anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
I would like to thank my sponsors, Siskin Power Equipment, Arlington, Dwayne Lanes, and my mom and dad.
And do you have a class you want to go into after these Youth Hornets?
Probably buy another street stock and race against my dad.
Owen, how old are you?
14.
All right. What was your favorite part of that race out there?
Well, I mean, being in the back wasn't the best, but going around the outside was.
Who do you want to thank for tonight?
My parents, Ethan Payne for setting up the car, Kane Collision Center, Torgy's Trucking, Rick Chevron, and that's about it.
Do you have a class you want to go into after the Youth Hornets?
I'm not there yet. I don't know.
And welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11 as we just finished up with the Youth Hornets, and we actually have a former Youth Hornet graduate, Haley Constant. She's going to come on board on the show here in a little bit. So a special couple segments coming up with a special guest analysis. So that's going to be fun, exciting later on for you guys to watch. But first, before we get there, we got some Stinger 8 racing.
It's time to turn left and then right and then left and then right over and over and over again. Stinger 8 time, one of our favorite divisions here on Home Track Heroes coming up, and could be interesting, especially with a little wet weather playing into effect.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the most dangerous intersection on the planet, getting ready to get filled with some four-cylinder race cars. Let's get to know your starting lineup on the front row. We got the 46 of Mike Hathaway, sponsored by Rep&N Welding and Rail, and his outside the 111 that is Ashley Shoe Car, sponsored by Be Happy Carpet Cleaning.
The second row, 44 of Joe Sturba, and outside him, first time we've seen Trent Gillespie on the season. The 025 starts outside or in row number 2 as it is.
Then we got the 07 of Zach Bristol, sponsored by PMS Power Decals, and his outside the 16 of Peyton Hop, sponsored by Papa's Tavern.
Exciting row number 4, Jackson Beckel, the 18J, JBR Racing, his sponsor, and Andrew Reinders in the 40, Whidbey Donuts. Donuts.
Oh, yeah, donuts are always great, especially on race cars, too. Yeah. And then in the rounding out the field, we got the 43 of Damon Claiborne, sponsored by Central Welding Supply, and then the 1 of Brandon Lindbergh, sponsored by Cox Racing Wheels, as they have a funky start, and John's going to call it off. He doesn't like what he sees there. So they're going to go around one more time, try to get a little bit better restart going for these guys, as it looks like, I think, a little bit of the 111 kind of hanging back and the 46 kind of going forward, not quite together. We want a nice, pretty start for these guys.
Gamesmanship between Hathaway and Shoe Car there on the first try. Let's give another shot. So we call this the South Pole, by the way. That is the south end of the racetrack. And then the other one will be the North Pole. So if you hear us referring to North Pole, South Pole, that's what we're talking about. And there is your intersection. Start-finish line is off the North Pole, towards the grandstand side. You'll see it come into your screen in probably about, 7 seconds or so.
Yeah, well, with all the snow around here, you think we'd be talking about the North Pole up in, like, with Santa Claus and all that stuff. But nope, we're here at the North Pole at Evergreen Speedway. Green flag is in the air. Like that start a little bit better. Hathaway gets a good jump. Shoe Car is going to fall in right behind right away, and that's going to open the door for Zach Bristol to peek to the outside early on.
Yeah, Bristol looking to come forward on the field and come forward in a hurry. Takes a look to the inside, tries to blend back in, and poor innocent Uke tire gets the worst of it.
So Uke tire hit count already at 1. We're not even a lap complete, and then that was kind of a chain reaction there. We got the 40 of Andrew Reinders, the 60 of Peyton Hobb. They kind of had nowhere to go and made some pretty good contact. John Peterson getting the thumbs up from all the drivers. That was a pretty tough hit. We're going to go back and take a look at the replay here, coming through the intersection, and just how quickly things can change with Bristol getting turned sideways and just absolutely nowhere for the 1640 to go.
Yeah, it's interesting, and seeing this angle, and this is what I'm looking at. You see Bristol kind of, I would say, out of the lane and trying to come back in. He had to move back into the lane to get out of the racetrack and just didn't get far enough in. I mean, the Shoe Car had the run, had the lane, at least from my perspective. Maybe from the driver's seat it looks a little bit different, but you never know. Either way, tough break for Bristol and wipes the car out.
Yeah, so lengthy cleanup there as we see how much the lighting has changed for these guys. As we lost quite a few cars there. We're down to a little bit smaller field now. That was a pretty big hit for it not being an intersection hit in a figure 8 race. So that's one of the bigger ones we'll see as we get set to go back. Green flag racing right here. Mike Hathaway, Ashley Shoe Car, Trent Gillespie, your top 3. As here we go, green flag back out in the air.
Yeah, without a lap complete restart, 30 to go, and this is going to make life way, way easier on Claiborne and Lindbergh, who started in the back row, and with this big invert had a long way to come. It's going to be Shoe Car now leading here.
Yeah,
North Pole.
Jackson Beckel in the blue car as well. He's another young kid we love watching. Something interesting you might see on the side of the 1 car when we get a shot of it is it says Jackson on the side of it, on the side of Brandon Lindbergh's car. So Jackson took the liberty of making himself a sponsor of the 1 car.
Oh, nice.
During the pit meeting today. So that was what Jackson was doing, keeping himself busy. So it's cool seeing the camaraderie between these drivers as they continue to grow up through the sport, especially with the young Jackson Beckel. Last year's Rookie of the Year, messing around with last year's champion, Brandon Lindbergh, in the 1 car.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Lindbergh commit to the full 1 this week as well. As opening week, he had the 1 on one side, 7 on the other, but that is a very big, distinct 1 as he works on the Neon Underglow 43 of Damon Claiborne. Claiborne all over the back of Gillespie, who's trying to make Ashley Shoe Car's life difficult.
Yeah, so Shoe Car out leading this race, doing a very good job at it. able to keep everyone behind her for now, as Trent Gillespie's got a mirror full of Brandon Lindbergh. Lindbergh's going to look to the outside. That's what Shukar wants to see in her rearview mirror, is them going side by side. And then Claiborne side by side with Jackson Beckel. So some great racing up front right here with the top 5 all underneath the blanket.
Man, Lindbergh has got some speed in the 1 car. You can see as he'll dispatch of Gillespie, now start working on Shukar. And now Gillespie in the back. That's Jackson Beckel making his way forward already into a top 3. So nice run by Jackson.
Yeah, he's got the 025 of Gillespie right there. But, hey, meanwhile, for the lead, they're going to be hitting doors, banging doors, going across the start-finish line just 5 laps into this race, and Lindbergh's really knocking on the door for the race lead, as he's going to have the inside advantage here going around the South Pole, and he's going to clear Shukar and try to bring Jackson Beckel with him.
He said knocking on the door, quite literally. A little door shot there as they got into the corner. He'll clear, as will Beckel, and now 1 and 2, Lindbergh and Beckel. Shukar having to settle back into 3rd.
Yeah, there we see Shukar with the pool noodles. I love seeing the personality with all the different cars. See the pool noodles on the 111, the underglow on the 43. It's cool seeing all the different stuff that these drivers come up with just to make their car stand out a little bit better. And that's how you really get fans involved as well. You know, younger fans going to see that and really attach to someone like that. So it's really cool to see.
Reinders working to the inside of Claiborne. Claiborne was trying to make a move on Gillespie, had to back out of it. That opened the door for Reinders, and now Reinders going to try to go the long way. Contact between the 2, and Claiborne limping off to the inside.
Yeah, that was some pretty heavy contact. You'd really see the 40 car hot, but it looks like the 43 is the one that's going to come on the short end of it. Looks like that left front tire is down as he's trying to, looks like he might just pull in the infield and park it and call himself a night, get a nice front row seat at the intersection for when that starts to heat up here in a little bit.
Only 8 laps in, 22 to go here in the Buzz Inn Steakhouse Stinger 8 division here at Evergreen Speedway on Hill Street Cleaners Night.
Yeah, you see Trent Gillespie now battling with Ashley Shukar for that 3rd spot on the podium as they continue to move on, trying to work their way back forward to that top 2. But up front, Brandon Lindbergh, Jackson Beckel, they've really checked out. But this battle for 3rd is great right here.
Let's see how Gillespie chooses to attack Shukar. Shukar has been very technically sound. They've had to drive around her to get around her. Let's see if she can continue to make Gillespie do that. So Gillespie washes wide coming into the South Pole, brings her back down as we'll get a look at Lindbergh starting to cross. And there's some interesting intersection action.
Yeah, that was Mike Hathaway who had to really take evasive mover, and he went way to the left, kind of outside of that racing line we talked about earlier with Zach Bristol. But normally it's okay to go way outside when you're trying to avoid a hit in the intersection, as your race leader was coming in high. We're going to go back to that battle for 2nd. Now Shukar, maybe a little bit of a brake check on Gillespie right there, a little bit of contact between them. But I mean, it's Stinger 8 racing. You're gonna use the bumper every now and then.
Yeah, sheet metal's cheap. That's the good news as we watch them make it through a relatively clean intersection for Shukar and Gillespie right now. That's good news for those 2 drivers. Shukar a little wide off the corner. Gillespie uses the front bumper. However, Gillespie slowing now, so Gillespie with a little trouble. Picks the pace back up getting into the turn, but you can see that race car for some reason not happy for a second.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it maybe fell out of gear. I'm not sure if Gillespie's shifting. I mean, some Stinger drivers or some figure 8 drivers will choose to shift depending on how their cars are set up. It's not very common, but it can be done. So maybe he just fell out of gear or shifted wrong, something there. But we definitely saw the 025 come off the corner and just lose power, which really allowed Reinders now to get his back bumper to try to battle for that 4th spot. There you see your race leader flashing across right in front of them with Jackson Beckel coming in behind them as well. So that's about how big your race lead is the gap of these 2 cars.
Made the intersection a little messier as well by spreading the cars out somewhat more. As you can see Beckel coming through on the tail end of Reinders. Again, watching the battle for 4th and 5th at the moment. The 025 of Trent Gillespie and the 40 of Andrew Reinders. And at the halfway point, we take a look at your leader, Brandon Lindbergh. This segment brought to you by Monroe Grocery Outlet, your locally owned neighborhood grocery store. They offer name brand products, fresh produce, organics, wine, and more at 40 to 70% less than traditional grocery stores. Shop them first and save. Monroe Grocery Outlet, the proud sponsor of the Superstock Figure 8 classes. Oh, intersection almost biting Gillespie.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if he came off the corner and was slowing down for the 18 car, or if he had the same issues before where he came off the corner and just lost power. Either way, Reinders got on the back of him, and that almost shoved Gillespie into the 18 car of Jackson Beckel. So that's really going to allow the 1 car, Brandon Lindbergh, to really check out having that little mix-up in the intersection for your 2nd place runner. But yeah, like you mentioned, Menard Grocery Outlet, the sponsor of the Superstock Figure 8s, you'll see them in action next week. So if you want to see the big V8 cars come out and do battle once again on the same Figure 8 course, tune in next week to Home Track Heroes as we're going to check back in with the race leaders. Now he's starting to put some cars a lap down. Another obstacle. Not only does he have to worry about the cars in the intersection, but he also has to worry about the cars right in front of him that he's putting a lap down as we see him battle hard with Hathaway. So he's able to get through the intersection, clear these 2 cars, and continue on his early dominance here in 2022.
Yeah, Lindbergh looking to go 2 for 2. We've already seen Riley Riddell repeat on the night. Lindbergh trying to join him up there as multiple-time winners already here in this Evergreen Speedway 2022 season. Back to it, and Gillespie way off the pace once again. And then is he picking it back up? That car is slowing pretty significantly at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it's almost kind of hopping a little bit, and that's going to be right in front of your race leader. You see Lindbergh take evasive action, and Trent's going to pull it in now. He's going to say it's not worth hurting the car too much, trying to figure out what this issue is. So he's going to go down there, park in the South Pole as well. Or maybe he's going to try to pull off. I'm not quite sure. Go down there, join the 43 Damon Claiborne with cars that are having issues this race. Go back up with the race leader. Now just 9 laps remaining for Brandon Lindbergh as he's trying to repeat his championship run that he had last year in 2021, trying to carry it over into 2022. I mean, nothing but momentum for this guy. It seems like whenever we see Brandon Lindbergh get behind the Cox Wheels racing machine that he's willing to do whatever it takes to grab the race lead. 5 laps in, he came from the back to the front. Now he's led everything since then.
Yeah, this is like playing a video game on easy mode at this point in time for Lindbergh, with pieces of the field kind of knocked out, lots of room, an intersection that's not getting messy for him. This is pretty easy for Brandon as you watch Beckel get past the slower car of Hathaway in the South Pole. Just 8 laps remaining in a rapidly moving Stinger 8 race as you saw Hathaway jump on the brakes before the intersection.
Yeah, and you talk about how it's like easy mode for him. Well, he had some of his heavy competitors like Peyton Hopp and Zach Bristol involved on that lap 1 incident, which also moved him farther up in the starting order. So it's like really everything's falling into place for Brandon Lindbergh right here. But hey, it's Figure 8 race. We don't want to jinx him too much because that intersection can bite you in a hurry the moment you're not looking. So you just got to keep making it through. There goes Hathaway right behind his back bumper as we're mentioning it. So you just got to get through about 12 more times. 6 laps remaining for Brandon Lindbergh right here. Just got to keep it clean as we're going to get a nice look at this intersection action. Not too many cars that are left in this race, but hey, it's still pretty high intersection right there.
Well, spread out like they are, you still got to time it correctly, as that was 3rd and 4th who just flashed into your screen, and your leader right in behind them. So Brandon Lindbergh continued to pick him up, put him down. And there's all the way back to your second place car, the teal with black, number 18J of Beckel. So Lindbergh, a dominant lead. He can afford to be very conservative here over the last 4 laps.
Exactly, yeah. And I noticed when we were on that middle kind of shot of the intersection itself, we saw Peyton Hopp back out. He rejoined the field, so they got his car fixed from that front end damaged from that lap 1 incident. So good to see him get out here, get some more laps. He's 2021 Stinger 8 or
Hornet champion.
Yeah, Interstate Battery Hornet champion.
Yep.
So it's cool seeing him make the switch over, get as many laps as he can in a main event. It's good for him. So I'm hoping to see Peyton Hopp come back out, be able to complete a full race, and hopefully see him on the podium here in Stinger 8s because he's always a fun interview as well.
That's pass for 3rd, right in front of your leader, as it took a while, but Reinders finally gets by Shoekar. Shoekar, man, she had a podium for a long time there, unfortunately. Leaves her out a little bit early, and Beckel's going to get around and lap her. And now Beckel coming in on Reinders, who is 3rd, so nearly a lap the field expedition for Brandon Lindbergh here tonight.
Yeah, similar to what we saw in the Youth Hornets as well. We saw the 20 Riley Riddell lap all the way up to about 3rd position as well. So it's seeing a little bit of a theme tonight with the dominance of these leaders. The white flag is out for Brandon Lindbergh as he's putting all sorts of pressure on the 40 car. Intersection should stay relatively calm for him as he comes around the South Pole one last time. Just half a lap remaining for Brandon Lindbergh.
Lindbergh through the intersection on the final time. To the North Pole he goes. One more run at trying to lap Reinders. It is going to be Brandon Lindbergh gets the victory. Well done, a dominating performance for him. Bust out the sundial. Might be a minute or two. Wait for it because it's still coming. And there's your 2nd place finisher in Beckel finally getting by. And not too terribly long in and behind him. Your winner is already parked. There's your 3rd place finisher in Reinders. So Lindbergh, Beckel, and Reinders podium on the 2nd night of the year for the Buzzin' Steakhouse Stinger 8 division.
So we got Brandon Lindbergh 2 for 2, Riley Riddell 2 for 2. So that's maybe a theme we're seeing here for repeat winners here in 2022 as we're going to head on down to the Angel of Winds platform with Derek Todoroff to interview the top 3 we just saw.
Now, before we talk about the race, Greg and I noticed something on your car, some tape.
Well,
Can you explain that?
so I've been telling you guys I've been looking for some sponsors, and apparently I picked one up tonight. It looks like Jackson Bexel. He went ahead and sponsored the whole side of my car while we were in the pit meeting. So, hey, as long as he pays, it's all good.
All right. You dominated that race. How did it feel from your perspective?
Well, we kind of drew the short straw in the heat race. Apparently, we were racing somebody who was brand new and took us out of the heat race. And long story short, we just decided to put it all together and come in full head of steam for the main. And you just got to go around the outside and show them who's boss.
All right. Got anyone you'd like to thank for tonight other than Jackson?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely thinking Jackson, but I had a couple new sponsors come aboard. Biggest one so far, Pick and Pull, man. They're coming out and they're gonna Linwood, Alderwood, or Arlington. Great spot to go get your parts. They came on board this week. I don't even have them on the car yet, but we're really excited to introduce them into our racing program. And then I got Cox Wheels Racing, JBR, definitely Jackson, my wife and my son, and everybody else at Hager Motorsports, Brandy Hood Promotions, and 2.5 Men Barbecue, actually. They keep my stomach full while I'm racing. It's amazing.
All right, Jackson, how did that race feel?
It was pretty great. I went out there and just drove, I guess. Car kept dying in the left-hander, but it is what it is.
Got anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
John Bender, JBR, Ingbaum's Dirt Work, Brandon Lindbergh, Dawson Cox, everyone that just helped me on the car and made it possible to be out here.
All right, Andrew, did you have a best part of that race?
Well, the best part is I was able to rebound and get in the top 3. I kind of didn't expect it just because the 111 was a little further out and I was running out of time to catch up with the laps. But overall, I'm happy to salvage the night on a good note. And even though my hand kind of hurts with aiming, I can still make it.
Got anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, definitely big thanks to my parents for letting me be out here and working on the car. Robert Smith, Whitby Donuts, my new sponsor. It's definitely been a long time to get them on the podium for the first time this season. And most importantly, the fans for being here tonight.
Home Track Heroes marches on here on the CW11. Caleb Hart, Kyler Hope with you, and happy that you're spending a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening in with us. We're going to debut something new coming up here. It's the Interstate Batteries Hornet B feature, and Kyler, tell me about the boot.
Das Boot. So with the Hornets, we love to do, they run the road course every single week. We've run different configurations during the fair, special occasions. But with the new pavement we're going to mix it up a little bit more and a little bit more often this year. And we actually qualified and practiced these guys on the normal course. And then, hey, right before heat races, you guys are running the boot, by the way.
Ooh,
so it's a little bit, it mixes up for the drivers a little bit. They can't set up their cars for a left dominant or a right dominant handling course because they don't know what they're going to get.
Okay, so they're going in on the 5th mile and hanging that first left into 1.
Yep.
And then down here through the back, are they hanging a right?
Hanging a right.
Right here. Okay. So they're hanging a right onto the back straightaway of the 3/8 and then hanging a left into turn 3 of the 3/8.
Exactly.
And then off of 4.
Exactly,
okay, so
yeah.
there it is. That is Das Boot.
Yep, and so last year on Home Track Heroes, we ran it backwards. We ran the same configuration backwards during the fair, and then 2 years ago, we ran this configuration on the season, or the opening season of Home Track Heroes, as the green flag is out. That is Tegan Bornson in the 59. We'll get to know your full starting lineup right here. On the front row was the 382 of Josh Ilstra, sponsored by Northern Lights Towing. Days outside the 06 of Chuck Fisher, sponsored by Omega Pizza and Pints. That's got really, really tight right there, but that's a lot wider of an access road than it used to be.
If you catch row number 2, it was the 19 to Scarlett Fisher, who I think is second at the moment. Omega Pizza and Pasta, Tegan Bjornsen's 55. Whiteside Steel, the sponsor. She was listed in third at the moment.
And then we got the 03 of Lucas Hassenfleck, sponsored by Cornerstone Homes. To his outside was the 101 of Brian McNamara, sponsored by True Line Wheel and Frame.
Let's storm through the rest. Gabriel Guevara for R. Wells Investment Group. Jason Karenberg, the 2 GP Aria Home. 88 Garrett Kramer, Northwest Security and Sound. And the 85 Hunter Jenkins, Elite Construction Contractors.
As we see Tegan Bjornsen, one of the Youth Hornet graduates, up to the early race lead in that 59 machine, as we're going to kind of go back around that battle for the transfer spot. So it's a B main event. Top 4 cars get the option to move on to the A main later on, so they get to run these 20 laps here, and then they can run another 30 laps later on. That's a full night of racing for them. As you see Kramer jump into, I think that is now the 3rd spot, and then the 02 or the G2 getting really tight there with the 382 of Josh Ilstra. He's not wanting to give that 4th and final transfer spot yet. Is that little S section is a lot of fun, that access road, whatever we want to call it, as it's that sharp right, sharp left, tons of playroom for these guys to play around with, as the G2 getting a huge run right there, the 2G of Jason Karenberg getting a great run down into the corner, but that's a heavy braking zone, and the 382 is going to lean on him hard. Zylstra trying not to give that spot, but it looks like it's going to be Karenberg getting that final transfer spot for now.
Man, they have so much speed coming off the 4th corner of the 3/8, and then to just romp on the binders to try to make the left onto the 5th mile. That's insane.
Exactly, yeah. It's a heavy braking zone for sure, similar to what we used to see of them going left to right here and then having to brake on that little straightaway. This is just a lot tighter of a braking zone and a lot more of a swinging corner as they go way wide there. That's a 382, 101, and 4G all going side by side. Let's go 3 wide into the Laxus road. Why not?
Oh, almost hit the Uke tire. Nice job. That's Guevara in the white car on the outside who's really stormed forward. So nice job for him. He's got the cool light up left rear tire, left rear wheel. I'm digging it.
He's got on both sides? Yeah, he's got on both sides.
Yeah, rear wheels you'll never miss. Gabriel Guevara, especially if you're crossing the road at night.
Yeah, so I talked about earlier in the Stinger 8s, it's cool seeing all these guys putting a little bit more personality into the cars, cosmetic-wise. As long as it's not too distracting, I'm all for it, as it really gets the fans more involved and makes it stand a little bit more. As a 382, I think Zylstra's leaning on everyone tonight. He's definitely going to be racing hard no matter what in that 382 machine, as he's going side by side with the 101 Brian McNamara right now as they go onto the 3/8s down the front straightaway, as we've already completed 6 laps of this B main event. Remember, top 4 is where you want to watch go on, as we're going to have a battle for the race lead here soon, looks like.
Yeah, he's hit everything except for the pace vehicle and the jet air dryer, and considering things, the weather at Evergreen Speedway tonight, might need the jet air dryer at some point in time. As you're watching up front, it's 59 of Tegan Bjornsen, who continues to lead 7 laps into this, heavy on the brake. That was a great look at how much they had to whoa the car up, did Tegan. And Lucas Hassenfleck in position number 2, trying to close in, coming into, I guess, the transition on the boot. It's the right-hand turn and then the very short left-hand turn thereafter. As opposed to the intersection that we run on the road course, it is hard to keep momentum through that section.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a lot different. It's a lot heavier braking course than what we're used to. So these drivers, so some of the guys maybe don't pay as much attention to their brakes or service them as much, are definitely going to after running it this weekend, as we see a really good side-by-side battle here for the race lead, getting really close on those Uke tires. Everyone playing nice they were playing nice. That was a big door from Hassenfleck, trying to take over the race lead over Tegan Bjornsen. Like I said, a Youth Hornet graduate, so he's just about 16 years old behind the wheel of that 59 machine, and he's going to carry that momentum around the outside into the heavy braking zones. They're still side-by-side. What a great battle for race lead.
All that extra pavement and runoff actually makes this course not only viable, but a whole lot of fun, because they can keep a lot of speed. Ooh, it gets really narrow getting into the right-hand turn, little lean coming into the left, and Hassenfleck's going to have it. But man, what a fun battle that was.
Oh yeah, this is very exciting. I mean, how can you not love this course? And it's really exciting for the fans too, and the drivers love it when they. There was a lot of excitement in the pits when they mentioned that they're possibly to run on the boot. They ran their heat races and they're just absolutely loving it. So we're going to check back to the battle for 3rd.
All right, that's Garrett Kramer sitting in the 3rd spot. Both of those are transfer cars, by the way. So Kramer's 88, and behind him, it's
the 2G of Jaron Kasenberg. Yeah, it's a little bit of a funky number to look at. And it's not very big. It's not like the name of or the Lane Sunholm number 18, nice and reflective.
It's a little harder to see. No kidding.
as they continue to battle on, as they have a very comfortable gap over 5th place. I believe that is McNair in the 101 who sits 5th currently, or Gabriel Guevara in the 4R sits 4th or 5th right now. So the caution flag is out, actually.
Yeah, he was coming earlier as there's a car spun and stopped right there, middle of our picture.
Yeah, it looks like it's the 38, possibly. Or
do we have a 38? We have no 38. 382? Is it Zylstra?
It might be Zylstra. It looks like that Uke tire is out of place. Possibly some contact there with the Uke tire to bring out the caution.
Home Track Heroes, where we hurt the Uke tires on purpose.
The poor Uke tires, yeah. So this segment is brought to you by IBW NECA, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 191 in Everett, and the National Electrical Contractors Association Cascade Chapter in Mount Vernon are powering our communities. Union members earn more money, have better benefits, and greater job security. Thank you to IBW NECA for your support. As we'll get that car moved out of the access road. It really blends in right there, don't you think?
Yeah, just a little bit. It's just hanging out.
A little bit hard to see.
I just wanted to look at everybody else in the field.
Yeah, and looks like we got a little bit of rain coming in.
Find the jet dryer.
So that's going to change things up. That's a heavy rain all of a sudden. So these drivers are going to have a whole new curveball to work with. Is just during this caution flag, you go from a pretty dry track underneath your green flag conditions. The yellow flag comes out, and it starts raining really hard. So the track's going to change a ton.
Yes, it is. That's one of the nice things here about Evergreen Speedway. If you plan to bring family out for a night of the races, even if the wet stuff starts coming, we're still going to try to put the races on. Every division we can run in the wet stuff, we will do so.
Exactly, yeah. And we got the covered grandstands. We got the concession stands down underneath. We got some nice hot
many
food.
Warm drinks.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So green flag back out in the air right now. Lucas Hasselbeck, Team Bjornsson lead him down into turn number 1.
All right, so into the heavy braking zone, although not carrying as much momentum. Look, wait. That you can't park your car there.
Everyone is sliding around, missing the corner.
They're on the 3/8.
So Hasselbeck and Bjornsson, your two early race leaders, they've completely missed the corner. They're on the 3/8. They're going to have to come to a stop and then rejoin the field as their penalty. So everyone is still sliding through the access road. That new pavement is definitely going to be a lot slick as well. So that's going to completely mix up your transfer spots. It looks like now we're going to have the 88 of Kramer, your race leader. I think that was Karenberg who made it through as well.
Yep.
Guevara. Yep, thank you, Guevara. And then that's Scarlett Fisher in the 19.
What?
So
okay, that changed things.
That was quite the turn of events. You just see them all go down into turn number 1, and they missed the corner just because of all the wet weather. It started to fall. Wow.
Yeah, that's a something. I had no idea that was coming, and surprising.
So a very big plot twist right there in the Hornet B-main event. It's still 9 laps to go, so Hasselbeck and Bjornsson, they're not out of it yet, but wow, what a change that was.
I think we can officially say anything can happen on Das Boot.
Exactly, yeah. We said the most dangerous intersection is unpredictable. Well, now it's I think Das Boot is just as.
So, new race leader. I saw Karenberg get by for at least a second there. Did Kramer get him back?
It looks like it's still Karenberg in the race lead. Kramer, it looks like he's struggling. I'm not sure that car is all fully up to power. Looks like he's struggling to get the hammer down. As Guevara's going to go to his inside for second. And Scarlett Fisher still hanging on to third, but it looked like that was the 03 Hasselbeck back in the 5th spot, so he's knocking on the door of transfer spot.
Yeah, Lucas trying to make up for his boo-boo there a couple of laps ago, trying to run back down Scarlett Fisher, and you can see him flashing into the screen, so we'll have a battle for the final transfer coming up shortly with 7 laps left. Guevara has cleared Kramer, and now chasing after Karenberg.
So not only is it a different course for these drivers now, it's also a really wet course for these drivers now. So not only has it changed from the time when they practiced on it, it's now changed from the time when they took the green flag and the yellow came out. So there we see the battle for the final transfer spot. Hasselbeck to the inside of Fisher. So Hasselbeck at least is back into the main show later on tonight, as we still see cars slipping and sliding underneath that heavy braking zone.
Very proud of him for continuing to make the correct corner on his way back up and through the field. That would be embarrassing if it did it twice.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the 3/8 more than once. Then you're really doing something wrong.
Right. Battle for the lead coming up here. Guevara working on Karenberg up in front. Down to 5 left, and Mr. Neon Rear Wheels is making a move.
As there we see Hasselbeck now getting to the outside of Kramer, so he's going to be slipping inside a little drift pass there. That was nice.
Not bad.
Yeah, well done. So Kramer, I think Kramer's in danger here of losing that final transfer spot because, like we mentioned, it looks like he's almost down on power ever since we've gone back to 3-star. It could just be he's driving a little more cautious. As Guevara looking to the inside now.
Well, it's been a hot minute since we saw this much downpour at Evergreen Speedway during race conditions, so maybe it's something where he's just not super comfortable driving with this much water out on the racetrack at the moment.
Yeah, you see those windshield wipers going crazy on your race leader as Guevara is still trying to hunt him down and make that pass to the race lead, but everyone right here on your screen is in the show later on tonight, so they just got to hang on to these spots. don't overshoot any corners, and then you're in the A-main event. But Kramer, he doesn't have a ton of pressure from Scarlet Fisher quite yet. So we'll have to see if they're able to get to his back bumper, maybe pressure him into a mistake or anything like that as we come down to 3 laps to go in the B-main event.
3 exciting laps, we hope. Karenberg, Guevara, Hausen, Fluck, 1 through 3. They're in solid transfer positions if they choose to. They can choose not to advance and not risk their equipment anymore if they want to. However, hey, racers race. That's what happens.
Exactly.
And then 4th is also in a transfer position, and it's a long ways back to Garrett Kramer, although Kramer looks to have a pretty significant advantage over Fisher at the moment, so he might be okay.
Yeah, but these top 3, I mean, if you start racing this close together, especially on wet weather conditions, one mistake and that could end up taking out all 3 of them. And then, hey, look, Bjornsson, McNamara, Fisher, any of those 3 guys could slide into one of those transfer spots as well.
They're just about nose to tail through the corner that time. The first corner of the 5th mile, and then hang a right down the back straightaway, hang a left down the back, into the corner in the 3/8, and through 3 and 4 on the 3/8. So 1 to go for Karenberg, Guevara, and Hausenfluck.
And Hausenfluck's been moving through the field too ever since he made that mistake. So we'll see if he's trying to possibly gain a couple more positions, which, I mean, if he picks these 2 cars off, it's 2 less cars he has to pass in the A-main event later on as well. So we'll see how aggressive he chooses to be right here as they go down the access road one last time.
Into the right and left transition. Everybody plays nice that time, although Guevara's got a little bit of a run to the inside. Door closes, and it will still be Karenberg. So to the checkered, and the B-main is over. We'll see these drivers head to the A.
Exactly. So Karenberg, your race winner. Guevara coming in second. Hausenfluck able to recover from that mistake. And it looks like Kramer was able to hang on in the 88 machine. So we will be back with more action here on Home Track Heroes. Don't change it anywhere. Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11, and we're going to stick with the very exciting Das Boot for the Hornet A-main event coming up here at 30 laps.
Bring out Das Boot. It is Interstate Batteries Hornet A-main time. These are chaotic already with the huge field of cars that already comes in, the talent level that's there, and then putting them on the road course. Nah, let's throw things up. Let's throw weather at them. Let's throw a new race course at them. It's going to be mass chaos. I love it.
Not to mention a full invert from qualifying times as well, which we do every single week with the Hornets, which I think that makes the class exciting as it is, because you got the fast guys coming from the back no matter what, and it just produces so many new first-time winners, and it's just very exciting. Not to mention weather, like you said, the boot. It's so many X factors going into it for the Hornet A-main event here. 30 laps coming up.
There's lots in play. Mike Hathaway's got the pole in the rep and welding and rail number 46. Dylan Frazier next to him. Car number 7, sponsored by Valley Realty Group.
Row number 2 is made up of the Everett Steel number 14, Austin Kramer, and his outside the 163 of Annika Duncan, sponsored by Olympic Embroidery.
Our third row, Zach Meyer, car 69, K&S Edwards, his sponsor. Bobby Fisher, the Toyer Tax number 81, starts in position 6.
The 38 of Kenny Spears in the next row, sponsored by Quality Auto Transport, is outside the 221, Lyndon Smith, sponsored by PRCBD.com.
Your 9th starter, Matt Snyder, car 15, Hair Inc. is his sponsor. Ryan Hausenfluck, the Cornerstone Homes, number 33, is number 10.
Row 6 is made up of the Turbo Espresso number 77, Christian Miller. It is outside the 49 of Calvin Miller, which there's no relation there.
Dan Miller is Christian Miller's dad. Starts right behind him, the Exterior Wall Systems Inc. number 00. Blaine Manning, car number 68, sponsored also by Exterior Wall Systems.
Next row, we got the 43, Damon Claiborne, sponsored by Raritan's Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Monroe. And one of the B-main transfers, the 4R, Gabriel Guevara, sponsored by Integrative Wellness.
And the other one who chose to start, Lucas Hausenfluck, the Edwards K&S Construction number 03.
So we mentioned Father Dan. We're going to go right on board here with the 00 on this start. So we're going to get a nice perspective right here as he's got his son Christian Miller right in front of us. The green flag is out in the air, and looks like the weather is not too much of a factor right now. We see a couple drops on the windshield, but it's not too bad. We got one car, I think it's Kenny Spear, going way down low, having to cut that tire really tight.
Look out, boys. Chaos all over the place. Dan has yet to nerf Christian. I would have done that to my dad, or if I had a kid, my kid, so quickly. He's playing so nice. All right, so into the interesting intersection, the right turn, then the left turn onto the 3/8. Quite the unique perspective there from the Miller car. Is lap number 1. Hathaway barely holds off Frazier. Frazier to the inside, looking to take the lead over going into turn 1 on the 5th mile.
Yeah, great side-by-side battle on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, it's just chaos for Dan Miller. I mean, he's one of the faster drivers, starting way at the back of the field, and you gotta be patient. It is a 30-lap main event, so he knows he has time. But it's also also a lot of cars to pass and a lot of quality cars to pass as well.
Yeah, a lot of fast guys at the back. In fact, you're taking a look there as we get off the double box. That was last week's feature winner. I'm sorry, the opening week feature winner in Blaine Manning. To be noted, we have had repeat winners already. Kind of a theme going, so we'll see how well Blaine does.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that 68 car as he's starting way in the back of the pack. And we'll see how the boot treats him as he won last week on the normal course. We need to come up with better names to read all these courses now that we're going to be mixing them in and out so much. As Dylan Frazier looks like he might have missed a shift right there. That's going to open up the door for Kramer to take the race lead in the 7s, way off pace right there. That's going to get things really tight. Calvin Miller going a little bit off-roading right there, but new race leader in the 14 car.
Yeah, that might be more than just a missed shift for a second, although, hey, picks it back up and gets up to speed as he lost 7 positions just
easily
over a couple of corners. Meanwhile, the aforementioned Blaine Manning already halfway through the field, up to about the 8th position or so, if I'm estimating, and coming in on Frazier trying to pick up a spot.
Yeah, he's got Zach Meyer and the Miller father-son duo going side by side. There's the door from Dan Miller on his son Christian Miller you talked about that you would have done right away.
Oh,
so
that a kid, Dan.
Great battling right there.
Great people. Get to deal with them every once in a while at Not Television Life here, and a fun father and son duo. They'll talk and share good stories about the time the dad ran over the kid.
So we got some good side-by-side battling going on mid-pack here. There's action everywhere to look in the Hornet class like there always is. We see the 68 at the left of your screen really moving forward. We got Zach Meyer, Lyndon Smith battling side-by-side. House and Fluck, that's the Ryan version, on the outside of Dan Miller as they continue to battle forward. And Claiborne, he got his car fixed from the damage in the Hornet, or the Stinger A-main event earlier tonight, so it's good to see the 43 car back out as well with a nice neon. Really easy to spot.
Yep, sharp-looking car and easy to pick off. As you mentioned, that unfortunately for these guys, they're all battling back in the teens at this point in time. They want to get much, much further up the field, and a lot of passing, a lot of side-by-side action coming right in that right and left transition on the boot racetrack as you get another look at your leader.
Yeah, that's just how far ahead the 14 car of Austin Kramer, the race leader, is. So huge gap back to all those fast cars we're just watching. They're going to have their work really cut out for them, as that's Calvin Miller right there in second, hunting down Kramer, as they just have a huge lead. Third place nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Kenny Spear not even in pictures. You get a look at the 3/8, first, second, and wow, Spear a long ways back there. So right now, this is Austin Kramer dominating, as there's finally a look at Kenny Spear, who has got Bobby Fischer in behind him, pressuring him for third.
Yeah, and Bobby Fischer, who we saw a lot of last year on Home Track Heroes, lead a lot of races, but it's really bad luck Bobby in 2021 as he had nothing really fall his way. So the 81 car moving forward, trying to get onto that podium right now inside of Kenny Spear. Ooh, that's going to get really, really tight. Kenny Spear not cutting any slack on Bobby Fischer as they go down out of the access road onto the 3/8. That was a lot of contact there as this time by at the line. Looks like Bobby Fischer's going to be able to complete the pass. Looks like maybe a little crossover possibly from Kenny Spear, trying to give him a lot of bumper right there as they're really going to stack him up. And I think that's Blaine Manning right there, almost looking for fifth as well.
Yeah, Manning's trying to work his way around the outside of Matt Snyder for the spot. Look out, Blaine Manning has to fishtail it, but gathers her back together. That could have been way worse for the opening night feature winner in Manning.
Yeah, great piece of driving right there as he really got crossed up with Snyder right there going into the access road. And the great thing about front wheel drive cars is when you get sideways, you just kind of mash the throttle and they'll eventually straighten themselves out. As he's possibly a little bit of payback here from 68.
Little love tap at least going into the first turn. Let's see if that gets any more physical. Meanwhile, Damon Claiborne's kind of busted through that pack that he was racing with and has worked his way up into 7th and is coming forward. So a nice race from Damon. 221, Lyndon Smith following around in 8th. Then it is Dan Miller in 9th and Ryan House and Fluck in 10th.
Yeah, so Kramer still your race leader with Calvin Miller in 2nd and Bobby Fischer in 3rd, which you see right there at the bottom of your screen. And then we see Blaine Manning getting the inside of Snyder this time by. So that will put the 68 into the 5th spot. So top 5 already for your opening week winners. We'll see if that trend will continue, although I think he's going to need a caution to help him out to try to catch that 14 car because he is a mile ahead.
A long ways, and some tough drivers to try to pass for Blaine as well, as we've seen Kenny Spear be fast, although Spear just got a little too wide off the corner. Manning, right place, right time. You'll note, well, we missed the shot on that one, but it looks like the tire out in turn 1 has been extended a little ways as we've got a new race leader coming to the line this time by.
Yeah, so that time by in the heavy braking zone, Calvin Miller was able to outbrake Austin Kramer for the race lead. So now Calvin Miller, who we'll actually see in the street stock main event later on tonight. So we'll see how he's able to do that as he maybe looking to carry some momentum into that race as he's got some lap traffic now in his sights. So he's going to have to be perfect as he starts to negotiate that as well for Kramer.
We'll see how well he does. This segment on Home Track Heroes brought to you by the Snohomish County Health District. Getting your COVID-19 vaccines quick and easy. Check one more thing off your to-do list today. Find a vaccine location near you at www.snohd.org/COVID vaccine.
And there you see the huge gap from first, second, all the way back to third, Bobby Fischer. So it was a good about 6, 7, maybe even 8 seconds. So that's the gap that Calvin Miller and Austin Kramer just have to keep over Bobby Fischer and the rest of these hungry drivers as they continue to work their way forward. You see Claiborne looking to the inside of Snyder, trying to take over that spot just outside the top 5, as well as Kenny Spear. He's falling back now as Dan Miller, Ryan Hausenfluck, Lyndon Smith are all moving forward as well.
Claiborne might give up a position right back to Snyder here. And Claiborne, yep, he is pulling off racetrack.
Yeah, something looks like someone broke hard on that 43 car. You saw the way it just kind of snapped out. I'm not sure if something in the rear end or what, but it looked like he was pointing the outside wall for a second. That was not going to be good.
Well, that ruins a really good run for Damon, who started way back in the field, 17th, if I've got my math right, and he was up to about 6th position, maybe even 5th. So, tough break for him. Meanwhile, your leader is finally in 2 slower cars. That's Guevara right in front of him.
Yeah, so he's got to negotiate lap traffic now, and it's a tough task to do. I mean, we talked about how strong of a field of cars this is, so he's got to really remain strong as he's got this whole cluster of cars that he's going to have to deal with not too far in front of him as well. Just got to be perfect. And for the young Calvin Miller, he doesn't have a ton of experience leading these kind of big races with big fields, so he's going to have to it's really going to put him to the test and really show him how to get it done, and hopefully he'll be able to stay nice and clean through a tough field of cars.
Ryan Hausenfluck in the 33, who is in your top 10, and in fact about 7th or so at the moment, getting past Snyder's 15. As you watch a couple of cars drift very, very wide into that corner. Kenny Spear in the 38, Lyndon Smith 221, making the move on him as they go through the transition right to left and onto the back straightaway. And Christian Miller, I believe, has gotten past both of them. That's the 77 car who's trying to track down Snyder in front of him.
Yeah, so Christian Miller, son of Dan Miller, who's up inside the top 10, and then there you see Calvin Miller, who's not related to the other 2 Millers. So it's just I guess it's just the Miller class tonight.
It is, all Miller all the time.
So Calvin Miller, he's got a heavy lap traffic right in front of him. You see Ryan Hausenfluck or Lucas Hausenfluck, Dylan Frazier, Annika Duncan all battling side by side. So you just got to be patient. And he knows he has quite a gap over Austin Kramer for the race lead right now. Doesn't want to do anything to ruin his night as they continue to battle forward with heavy lap traffic, and squeeze his way in there on the inside of Dylan Frazier. So Calvin Miller, I mean, he's not holding back at all.
No, gets past Annika Duncan, and now is coming up on Lucas Hausenfluck. Let's see how he chooses to navigate that. And he's doing it with gusto. Took absolutely no prisoners going in there, showing no hesitation. So that's definitely a way to navigate slower cars. May not be the way I would choose to do it, but hey, that's why I didn't win races.
He's got about a 5-second lead over Kramer as we speak with 10 laps remaining. So we're 2/3 of the way down to the Interstate Batteries Hornet A-main event. We're watching our race leader, Calvin Miller, negotiate lap traffic as he's on the back of Lucas Hausenfluck, one of the B-main transfers, and Lyndon Smith in 221 in front of them as well. So Calvin Miller up onto the 3/8, running the boot, and it's just funny seeing how excited the drivers get to run this course. It seems to be a driver favorite, and I mean, I'm loving it as an announcer. It's given us a lot of action. These heavy braking zones are a ton of fun as we see Kenny Spear get fired back up in the right direction. Like he might have went around for a little bit.
Pretty significant smoke show there for Spear coming through 1 and 2. Miller continuing to do a great job. He's got 4 slower cars, make it 3 slower cars in between him and the 14 of Austin Kramer at the moment. I thought I saw Manning starting to close the gap on Kramer. Manning needs a caution desperately bad as his 16th to 3rd run. Good, but not quite good enough yet.
Yeah, so, I mean, or even a mistake from the race leader with some lap traffic as well. I mean, we saw how aggressive Calvin has been so far, and he's got some really fast cars up in front of him right now. It's Lyndon Smith, Kenny Spear as well, and then Christian Miller's not too far in front of them as well, battling in a pack of 3 cars. So it really could just take one little mistake or one group of cars for him to get caught up behind, and then all of a sudden Austin Kramer and Blaine Manning are right on his back bumper, and we got a battle for race lead. As we see, looks like Hathaway going the little scenic route, and then going to cut the tires.
Just a detour, no big deal.
And cut back down. He's going to be side by side with the race leader going into the intersect or the access road as they keep it clean that time by. So Calvin Miller able to put a couple more cars a lap down as he continues his march forward, just coming up on 6 laps remaining this time by.
Yeah, nice 12th to first run for Calvin here on this field, just looking smooth. He's loving the boot as he'll work to the inside of Kenny Spear, who took a very wide entrance into the corner.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was maybe contact from Kenny Spear earlier that sent him sideways or how he got in that position, but it looks like he's maybe having a little trouble with the brakes in that car now. And we talked about how heavy of a braking course this is compared to their normal configuration. So it maybe could just be need some new brakes on that 38 machine after this race.
Have to change things up a little bit when you carry all that additional speed right here. It's a tight little, almost hairpin corner considering how much momentum they're carrying off the 3/8. 5 to go for Calvin Miller, and he is close to the promised land as we're going to look back a little bit. There's Spear again, who we talked about. And again, we'll watch his brakes. Now, it's going to be the most indicative coming through here, through 3. And with all the momentum he's able to carry off of 4, watch him try to get the car slowed down to make this tight left-hand corner going into 1.
Yeah, and is there a little bit of smoke coming off that right rear tire too? So maybe there's a little bit of contact that he had earlier on, or the sheet metal again flared up a little bit?
It could have been. That was a much better corner than the one that we had seen before when he went off into the Toolies. So you got to assume that he might have gotten a little help on that one. That makes the most sense, at least for what we see right now.
Yeah, going back up to Calvin Miller, he's looking to put the 15-car lap down, and we saw Snyder inside the top 5. There goes Christian sideways, so maybe a little bit more precipitation coming down on the track we can't quite see from our perspective. So the track conditions changing here with just 3 laps to go. That might just be what Kramer and Blaine Manning need, as if the rain starts to come, and that could really upset the 49 car and see him stake out of them.
Unfortunately for them, they're not even in the screen at the moment. I think Calvin Miller could lift a little bit in the last couple of laps here and be just fine as he's up on the back of Christian Miller trying to put him a lap down. Your second place car, there's your second place car.
Big push coming off of the 4th corner of the 3/8 mile for Kramer. That's going to allow Blaine Manning to get to his back bumper. So all of a sudden we got a battle for second with just 2 laps remaining. Your race leader in a different zip code. But we got the 14 and the 68 going to battle hard right here. Yeah, I think Blaine Manning's got the superior car. Going down here onto the 3/8 mile. Kramer, we saw such a hard push last time on the 3/8. We'll see what he's able to do right here.
Now that you have just one more time around to prove it, Calvin Miller is going to win this by a country mile, but this race for second, good at the very end. Manning shoots to the outside. Little rubbing, little leaning coming through. Now let's watch how they deal with the transition on the back straightaway. Manning noses ahead, gets through. There's the checkered flag and the win for Calvin Miller. And now it's the final 2 spots on the podium to be decided. And Blaine Manning clears Kramer with ease coming into 3 and off of 4. He will take the checkered flag in second. Oscar Kramer, nice run in the 3rd spot.
Yeah, Blaine Manning did everything right there on the last lap. He went to the outside, going down the front straightaways. He took the white and was able to carry that outside momentum long enough to have the inside line going into the access road. And from then on, it was race over for there. We'll head on down to the Angel of the Winds platform with Derek Todoroff to catch up with your top 3 right here.
All right, street stocks to Hornets. How did that feel?
It's a massive change going from the circle track to the boot tonight, but it was a lot of fun. I'm thank God that the rain held out till right now.
And how did you enjoy the boot?
It's my favorite track. I wish I'd run it every single night. Obviously, as you can tell, I do really good on it. And, the car was golden. Nothing else to say about it.
Anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
My mom and dad, Jason for Pit Crew, and Northwest Poly Services.
Well, how was that race for you? You got by Austin on that final lap. How did that feel?
Oh, that was cool. It's a little bit less slippery than the last weekend's race, or 2 weekends ago. But it's still a little slick out there. Just had a lot of fun.
Did you enjoy the boot?
Yes, I love changing the track up. It makes it a lot more difficult for everybody, and everything's a lot better.
Do you have anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Exterior Wall Systems, GN Northwest, Whiskey Years Over, and my dad.
All right, Austin, what was your favorite part of that race?
Every last bit. Obviously the first 8 laps that I led was awesome, but every last bit of that race was awesome. It was fun racing. It was great racing all the way through. So I'm glad to be out here. Glad I finished the night.
How do you like the boot?
It's always been one of my favorite courses. I've only run it 3 or 4 times, but it's always been my favorite. It's different racing than we do on a normal weekly basis.
Got anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
I want to especially thank Lifetime Heating. We've got one of their employees here that really helped us get there on the team. I want to thank Jason Ingbaum for helping set up the car and his family. I also want to thank Ring and Earthworks, Steph's Matthias Espresso, Classic Chiropractic, and anybody that's helped out on the car or sponsored out. Mom and Dad, obviously, they've always been a big part of this. So.
We're back here on Home Track Heroes on the CW11. Glad to have you guys in with us. Caleb Hart, Kyler Hope, and we are joined by Haley Constance, Pro Late Model driver, who's going to hang out with us for a couple of segments. We've got Street Stock main event coming up, and then we're going to do some Pro Late Model stuff, show some highlights from early in the year coming up on the final segment of the night. Haley, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to be on TV?
A little bit. I mean, this is a first for me.
Well, we'll break in. It'll be nice. It'll be fun. We got a great main event coming up here for the Street Stocks. I can feel it now. And we're going to pick your brain on some of the things that you see out there as a driver. You've done a lot of racing at Evergreen Speedway, not necessarily in a Street Stock, but in a couple other divisions. So we'll lean on a bit of your expertise and then get a preview of some things to come over the final couple of segments here on Home Track Hero. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Kyler, I'm excited for what we got coming up here because you have been hyping me up about the Street Stocks. Not only all week leading up to this, but all night tonight as well. This A feature should be killer, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the names we have. We got the Jay Grants. I mean, all these great drivers. Jesse Jensen, I mean, new track record holder for out on week 1. He's back here looking to repeat. I mean, that was a theme we saw earlier in the night was repeat winners from week 1. I mean, Mike Marthaler, Doug Poirier, Jeff Watson, Sharon Vincent, not to mention reigning champions that we got in the field as well. Steve Potasic, Ted Lindgren, and of course last year's champion Mark Hubbard. So it's a great field of drivers, a great field of cars, and I mean, you know me, I love my Street Stocks. I love these V8s. I love the awesome looking cars. So we're going to jump right into your starting lineup right here as we see them flash across your screen. Jake Grant in the 19 Steins Tap House car. That Monte Carlo body, new wrap this year, looks amazing. The 88 Ted Lindgren, your champion from 2 years ago in the American Image hair replacement 88 car.
Colin Hubbard inside row number 2. Let's Sack Cancer, the sponsor on the 14. Mike Marthaler next to him. He had a great opening night. Direct Carpet Cleaning and House Cleaning, the sponsors on the 44.
And then last year's champion, the 41 of Mark Hubbard, sponsored by Interstate Batteries. It is outside. The only Pontiac in the field. That's the 57 of Doug Poirier, sponsored by Ox Chassis.
In row number 4, your track record holder Jesse Jensen. In car number 3, Dunstan Bradley Industrial. Jeff Watson next to him in the 51, sponsored by Snohomish County Excavating.
I'm getting all the past champions. We got the champion from 3 years ago. That's the 06 of Steve Potasic, sponsored by Seattle Auto Works. And his outside starting 10th, that's the 43 of Sheridan Vincent.
It's not like I'm getting slouches in my rows, though. The 49 of Calvin Miller, who you saw just win a Hornet feature in the Northwest Poly Services Concrete Lifting Company number 49. 22, Kenny Erickson. AFC Forestry is his sponsor.
And rounding out the field on this wet night, as you can see, the rain really starting to fall for the Street Stocks. That's the 16 of Scott Perkins, sponsored by All About Transmission Automotive. And then the 03 of Blaine Fajirli, sponsored by Stingray Auto Repair. So, yeah, rain falling. And, Haley, have you ever raced a car in the rain before?
I have before in the Youth Hornet class. It was pretty interesting, but it's going to be cool to see how the Street Stocks race, considering I haven't raced one before. So I couldn't imagine what it would be like with so much more horsepower.
Is there anything you would change in your process coming into a rain race as opposed to something on the dry? Is there anything that you would think different or do different?
Probably just mentally prepare. You know, there's not a lot you can do. Obviously, you can't control the weather, so just go into it being extra careful and trying not to tear up the car and just see what you can do.
Well, we've got 30 great laps here on Hill Street Cleaners Night. Off the corner, Jake Grant, Ted Lindgren. Lean them down, we're underway.
Yeah, green flag is out, and you see them all kind of slipping and sliding. These rear-wheel drive cars, very different from what we just saw with the Hornets as we see Jake Grant slide way up the track, and that's one thing that you're going to see with these drivers a lot is they're going to be fighting for that outside line compared to the inside lines. We got one car around on the back straightaway. That's Mike Marthaler facing the wrong way. Jeff Watson, he's going to go a little bit off-roading to avoid any more contact. It looks like everyone's going to go out relatively clean for what that could have been as Marthaler's going to fire it back up. We'll take a look at a couple replays here in a second as that could have been a lot worse than it really was.
Well, good news for Marthaler, it happened on lap number 1, so now he's got a lot of time to recover, but rough break starting outside row number 2, and after that awesome opening night for him, now making the right-hand turn. He is heading back towards the pit area, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he feels something in the car he doesn't like, or maybe he's just going back there to check it out before, but looks like maybe that's the 57 of Poirier looking to go 3 wide, trying to get the inside, just not enough of a hole there, and Watson, he's going to take the evasive action going to the going onto the dirt to avoid that contact. And coming off the corner here, we see them go way up high. Like I was mentioning, they're going to be fighting for that outside line a lot because the rain goes down the track and really will puddle up on the bottom where it's a little bit drier up on the high side. So they're able to carry that momentum, get the power down a little bit better. So that's going to be one thing to watch for through the rest of this main event is hopefully get them all lined back up and get them all back out there.
Well, and we've seen as well what that new paved area on the outside of the racetrack will do. Haley, you took advantage of that the first very week out there. It makes a pretty big difference in the way you can run your Pro Late model now, doesn't it?
It definitely does. It's a lot nicer to have there, that's for sure, because you don't have to worry about running off. I mean, I know it's paved a little bit on going into 3, which obviously helps carry a lot more speed, so it's definitely nice to have there.
Letting you keep your foot in the gas a lot longer, huh?
Yep, that's for sure.
So here we go, firing back off. No laps complete, still 30 to go in the main event. A little bit better start here for the front row, a little bit more equal. Ted Lindgren carrying a ton of momentum on that outside line, trying to see if he can clear Jake Granite going down the back straightaway. And Doug Poyer is right there in third now.
Nice move by Poyer, already up to threatening your top 3. It is Lindgren trying to hold the car down. He opens the bottom back up for Grant. Grant battling to the inside. He's going to lead lap number 1. He thought it would have been Lindgren's, but nice job rallying by Grant.
Yeah, I think the track is right now at that almost perfect spot for these street stocks where it's still a damp track, but it's enough for that outside line. So we see a little bit of contact there between second and third place. Those are 57 to Poyer, really having to get on the brakes, see how sparks fly. But I think it's to the point where that outside line can be a factor more than a normal race week where it's completely dry. So I think we're going to see some great side-by-side action all the way through the track. You see Hubbard really utilizing that outside line right now, trying to take over third spot.
We've talked about in previous episodes of Home Track Heroes, dating back to last year, how good Hubbard is at using the middle to outside grooves. He's proven it here, already running up to third. Although Poyer battling back strong on the inside, this is good side-by-side action for the third spot in the running order, and Lindgren's all over Grant for the lead.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there going down the back straightaway. Looks like Grant's just a little bit loose, trying to get that throttle down, coming off of turn number 2, which really allows Ted Lindgren to close that gap towards the end of the straightaway. As we got our top 6 cars are all almost nose to tail as we look down the front straightaway on that shot.
Man, you can kind of see it. It's very, very subtle as they get into the corner, how normally these cars get into the corner and they stick. They've got good suspension, they've got good power, and just like that, that car did not stick going into 3.
Yeah, so that's your race leader going around off the front bumper of Ted Lindgren. So a little bit of contact there between first and second place, as that is not a very good sign if you're Ted Lindgren. It's not going to look great.
Let's take a look at it. We've got the benefits of technology and replay coming up here. So into the corner they go. Grant sets, and yeah, there was a love tap.
Yeah, that's quite the bumper there from Ted Lindgren. I'm not sure if there was anything that led up to that contact or anything that would have provoked Ted Lindgren, or if it was just a hard racing deal and maybe a little bit of misjudgment in the wet conditions.
Could very well be. I'm sure that these drivers are jumping on the brake a little bit sooner. Haley, that might be a great thing to ask you. I would imagine that they are getting into the brake a lot sooner and heavier into the corner.
Yeah, they most likely are, especially racing in the rain like this. And when you get tapped like that, it's already hard enough to save, and especially when the track's all slippery. So luckily he's got a lot of laps to go, and we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 26 laps to go. We'll see what Jake Grant's able to do from the back of the pack. Ted Lindgren, Mark Hubbard, your new front row, and I want to look too far past that third row because we got the 3 Mike of Jesse Jensen really starting to move forward in that 3 car, as he's been kind of quiet so far these first 5 laps. But a great battle for the race lead right now. Mark Hubbard on the outside of Ted Lindgren.
Nice side-by-side action, and one of the things I was starting to say is you can watch the cars. They're usually pretty glued down to the racetrack, but the back ends are stepping out on them just a little bit extra. So that's the effect of the damp racetrack coming into play, and the tires not gripping as much as they usually would be. Lindgren down low in 88, Hubbard upstairs in 41, still side-by-side for your lead.
Yeah, slipping and sliding off that corner is Mark Hubbard, but he's able to make it work, carry a ton of speed on that little bit higher line, and like I mentioned earlier, it's not raining enough to make it a completely wet and soaking wet track, so that inside line is still definitely a factor, and Ted Lindgren showing it right now in that 88 machine.
Poyer right there to jump on any mistake that your front 2 make, as it is Hubbard this time, up and ahead. Hubbard has proven his comfort in the outside line. You wonder if he can get clear of Lindgren. Does he bring the car downstairs in this instance?
Yeah, I mean, he was able to make the pass on the outside and carry a ton of speed on the outside, so it looks like he's opting to use that kind of middle to low groove, as Lindgren got really loose on the bottom of the track that time. He's going to lose some positions, looks like.
And Poyer coming up to try to take advantage of it, as Poyer closing in on the back bumper of Lindgren, with Hubbard getting away and Jensen again flashing into the screen. That Dirt Cruisewick owned number 3 trying to make some noise after a clean sweep on opening night. Tonight been a little more challenging for him as he qualified outside the invert. In fact, he's had to come up from 7th and right now trying to pass Poyer for 3rd.
Yeah, on days like today where or you don't really know what the weather's going to be like, it's hard to set up your car a certain way because you want to prepare for the rain or you want to prepare for a dry track, and then all of a sudden it's just going to change just like that as we see the 3 car go to the outside of Poyer trying to clear him. He's going to clear himself going down in turn numbers 1 and 2. So new 3rd place runner is Jesse Jensen as you got a little bit of side-by-side action with Potasic and Colin Hubbard right there for 4th and 5th.
Potasic doing a nice job of moving forward and finding speed in the 06. As you get a look at Poyer once again, sitting in the 4th spot and trying to run down 2nd and 3rd. Jensen dialing in on Lindgren.
Yeah, Jesse Jensen carrying a ton of speed off of turn number 2 right there. He's really making corners 1 and 2 work, where it looks like Lindgren's kind of starts searching around for grip, trying to find a good racing line. Can't really get that 88 car comfortable is what it seems like, as now Jesse's going to go to the inside, try to look over that 2nd spot. Still 18 laps remaining in the street stock main event. So we got some great side-by-side action right here.
Haley, as you're taking a look at the Lindgren 88 with Jensen working to the inside of him, does he look loose to you?
I think they both look a little loose to me. I mean, obviously with the rain and the track being wet, everybody's going to be a little loose right now, but
conditions lead to the loose situation.
Exactly.
I got you. All right, so Hubbard, your leader. Jensen has cleared Lindgren for 2nd, now trying to run him down just before the halfway point of this race. Hubbard in 41, your defending champion. Jensen, the opening night winner in car number 3, is your battle 1 and 2.
Yeah, this is this is shaping up to be a great race, and we got a bunch of great cars right here. You see Calvin Miller, the Hornet feature winner for we just saw last segment. Steve Potasic, Colin Hubbard, Poyer, all right here inside. That's 4th through 7th position right here, and it's nose-to-tail racing, and they're really not that far behind your race leaders either.
Yeah, line them up, throw a blanket over them as they are nose-to-tail, nose-to-tail. A little bit of gap separated them now coming off the 2nd corner, but watch it narrow as they get in through the middle of the turn. Potasic actually starting to use the front bumper and trying to close up on the 14 of Colin Hubbard. They put a lot of effort into that race car in the off season and in the recent weeks as well, in between week 1 and week 2. And Steve Potasic's really showing a lot of speed here tonight. The car looks good.
Yeah, it was cool seeing him come out opening week. I wasn't really expecting it, and then all of a sudden he's up here battling inside or looking for a spot in the top 5. As we're going to go back up to your race leaders, as Jesse Jensen is now filling the rearview mirror of Mark Hubbard, going to go down the back straightaway.
Well, Hubbard's a veteran. He's not going to panic. He's been in this situation a lot before. And realistically, Jesse knows as well, we've got 12 laps to go coming around this time with a racetrack that is not a perfectly dry track at the moment. He doesn't have to push the issue yet.
Exactly. Yeah, he knows he's got a little bit of time, and you saw just how quickly he was able to run him down and get to that back bumper. So Haley, if you're in this position, if you're in Jesse's shoes, you know you might have a little bit faster of a car. How much are you willing to push the guy in front of you early on, especially with now about 10 laps remaining?
You definitely just want to stay right up there and wait for him to make a mistake, or at least that's what I would do, and try to take advantage of every little mistake they make and try to make the pass as clean as possible. Like my dad always says, a clean second is always better than a dirty first, so you just want to try your best and see what you can do with the situation.
So caution flag is out. We got the 03 of Blaine Fajili going around in turn number 1. Looks like going to be able to continue on, so we're going to come back up to the booth for a second here. As you're saying, you'd rather have a clean second place run than a dirty first place run. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
So something to...
Winner's checks cash, but your reputation follows you everywhere, right?
Exactly.
You want to be known as somebody that you can drive with anybody and that people like to race against.
Exactly.
So we're going to see what kind of drivers that these guys are going to be here. We got 11 laps to go. We already saw Ted Lindgren get in the back bumper of Jake Grant earlier tonight. So we'll see if maybe he's willing to use that front bumper a little bit more here on Mark Hubbard, and maybe push both of them out of the way, and he'll take over the race lead. And I mean, anything can happen here. I'm not saying Ted's a dirty guy. I'm not saying Ted would ever do that on purpose. But
you would
never
never. You would never say something like that.
Never.
All right.
So Mark Hubbard, Jesse Jensen, your front row, Ted Lindgren, and then the Pontiac 57 of Doug Poyer sitting right there in 4th with Colin Hubbard, Steve Potasic. So we got a ton of great drivers right here inside the top 6 getting ready to battle as green flag is back out in the air, and we'll see how much grip is down there in turn number 1.
Enough for Hubbard on the bottom of the racetrack to pull ahead down the back straightaway. Jensen doing a good job sticking with him. Door panel to door panel into 3, but Hubbard going to rally off the low side. Looks like he's going to hold the lead on the restart. Jensen, is he willing to keep hanging her out there? Does he want to tuck in and wait? Little rub through the corner, give it to Hubbard. Now let's see what Jensen chooses to do.
Yeah, so it looks like Jensen is going to do what you said and kind of opt to fall back in line and then maybe start putting some pressure on, maybe wait for the mistake like Haley mentioned, as we see a really big slide from the 41 right there off of the corner, which I think is one thing we see really common with the 41 car, even going back to last season, is how much on corner number 4 he drifts off, and it's just really him getting that throttle down. The back end really likes to slide and add a little bit of damp conditions as well. He's really be sliding around, so that might be all that Jesse Jensen needs to make the pass, as we see him all come flying by right here on the front straightaway with just now 8 laps remaining.
Yeah, Jesse's taking his measure of him and looking for the opportunity. He sees it low coming off a 2. Hubbard gets the door closed at the apex of the corner. Jensen has to back out of it a little bit, and now Jensen's got a little gap to make back up coming into the final 7 laps.
Yeah, that was definitely a big door slam from Mark Hubbard, which, I mean, it's nothing, it wasn't a dirty move by any means. It's just him trying to guard his own line. Jesse wasn't fully there. I mean, he's barely had his nose in there, but it was enough to upset the car of the 3 car and really make him sideways, and that opened up the gap for Mark Hubbard coming by 6 laps to go. We'll see if Jesse's able to get back to his back bumper. We know how fast that 3 car is. See if he's able to get back to his back bumper and put any more pressure on him.
It's a very thin margin of error here, especially given everything that's all the conditions that are out there. Hubbard and Jensen engaged in a war for your lead. 5 to go, this time by Mark Hubbard, your defending track champion, the blue with red number 41, trying to hold off the opening night winner and your new track record holder in the 3 of Jesse Jensen, running in second.
Yeah, coming this time by, there'll only be 4 laps remaining, but hey, Jesse Jensen, he's back right there behind Mark Hubbard as they come down the front straightaway. It's 3rd, 4th, 5th place. They have a great battle going on back there, but we're going to stay with this battle for the race lead, because this is where the big check is going to be for these guys as they go down the back straightaway, coming up 3.5 laps remaining.
With 3 laps coming in to go, Haley, are you looking for one move? You don't have a whole lot of time to try twice, do you?
Yeah, it's a hard situation because you're trying not to overdrive the car, as we see Jesse getting the inside of him. But you just want to try to stay strong until the end and try not to overdrive it a little bit too much. And this is also a hard situation for Hubbard too, because you don't know whether you should try to protect or try to drive really hard right now.
Hubbard might have it still by a nose. No, it's Jensen at the line, down to 2 to go. We've seen how comfortable Hubbard is in the outside groove, and he's making Jesse work for it on the inside. Coming into 1 to go, Kyler. They are nose to nose, barely separated as the white flag flies.
Yeah, that's about as tight as you can get without touching each other. I don't think these cars made contact once as they go down. Final time into 1 and 2. Jesse Jensen, he's going to drift up a little bit, but still playing nice with Mark Hubbard. Go down the back straightaway side by side. It looks like there's only 1 car right there. You can't see anything behind Jesse.
They're even Steven through the middle of the corner, hard on the throttle, out of corner number 4 to the line. Jensen gets the win on the final lap.
And that is why I love street stock racing so much. Just a tire separating your top 2. Jesse Jensen over Mark Hubbard. Ted Lindgren coming home 3rd. What a great way to end this segment. And this segment was brought to you by Central Welding. Central Welding Supply's mission of excellence service hasn't changed since 1975. A locally owned family business providing gases, safety, and welding supplies. Central Welding Supply's expert staff makes the difference. Find their 25 locations at centralweldingsupply.com as we'll head on down to the Angel of the Winds platform with Greg Pyland and your top 3 from that exciting street stock main event.
So Jesse, you had a great night on opening night. You continued that. It was a pretty fantastic finish, you going back and forth with Mark, but tell us a little bit about that last 3 laps that really counted tonight for your victory.
It was a blast. Mark slipped up just a little bit. That one time getting into 3 allowed me to get my nose underneath there, and then it was on. And yeah, we raced as hard as we could, both of us, and we didn't touch. And I think it was pretty close there at the line. But did you guys like that? Was that fun? Yeah, that should be some good racing there.
Absolutely, yes indeed. Tell us a little bit about the sponsors that help you out here.
Dunstan & Bradley, Performance Machine, Dave Payton, builds a badass motor. I mean, there's nothing that keeps up with that thing down the straightaway. All my guys, Dirk, Kristen, all my crew, Jeff, Randall, Rob, my spotter Todd, my best friend. My wife was here with my kids tonight. It was awesome. I love you, Lindsay. Thanks for letting me have fun. Yeah, everybody, don't forget, come out for the Dream Builders Car Show, June what? 19th. June 19th. Dream Builders Car Show right here, Evergreen Speedway. It's going to be a big one. Come on out.
Mark, you really know how to give the people a show. How exciting was that final 3 laps?
Oh, my God, that was awesome. I was looking out the window going, He's sticking. So, no, that was an awesome race. I'd like to thank my mom and dad for this. Truly Hard Seltzer, Interstate Batteries, Rick's Chevron, Rick's Tire and Service, AMSOIL. Can't do it without them.
Clearly, there was a difference between earlier on in the heat race where there was a lot more water on the track. It started to dry out, like Ted said. But tell us a little bit about that final couple of laps with you and the first place finisher tonight.
I just tipped into the gas a little bit too early in 3, and the back end started to come out a little bit. I looked in my mirror, and he was right there, and I went, I just opened the door. And then it was, hold on, I'm sure it was like he beat me by like 0.02 of a second or something like that. It was close. It was a great race. We never touched. Nice run, Jesse.
First off, it's just great to talk to you again, but that was a heck of a race. You did such a good job holding off Doug right behind you. Tell us a little bit about how the course was treating you tonight.
Well, the course was wet, but it dried out. And first off, you guys saw some with Jake there. He got a little loose. I didn't check up in time. I feel bad. That was not good, but I'll see him in a little bit. Let's go. Hey, Evergreen. CW11 Evergreen, greatest fans! Woo! Let me talk to the sponsors real quick. My company, American Image, AIHair.com, AMSOIL, Performance Loop Synthetics, Sandview Cruises, and guess what? We got a new crew member. Darcy Kuhn, Team Chef. Way to rock it! Thank you.
We're back for our final segment here on Home Track Heroes on the CW11. I am Caleb Hart. He is Skylar Hope. Haley Constance joins us. This segment is brought to you by BECU. That's Boeing Employee Credit Union. Boeing Employee Credit Union believes in people over profit. BECU, altogether different. So we're going to do something a little bit different here in the final segment. We're going to take a look back to week number 1 of Home Track Heroes when the Pro Late models were out on the racetrack, when Haley, you were out there, and to finish things off, we're going to preview a little bit of what's coming up, as you've got an exciting chunk of the race season coming. Flashing back, few weeks ago, season debut, year number 2 in the Pro Late model, and a night that I think you really announced your presence kind of on the stage of Evergreen Speedway on the 3/8 mile. It was a killer night for you.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting too. I think it was a really fun race, and it was a good way to start the season. So hopefully we can carry that out throughout the rest of the year and just see what we can do.
So spoiler alert, if you guys weren't watching the first episode of Home Track Heroes, where were you guys? But Haley ends up finishing 3rd on the night and has some real highlights in the way, and we're going to see some of them coming up here. 3rd place finish on the evening, really something great to build off of going forward with you and your entire program.
Yep, and I'm racing with a lot of great people too, like Naima Lang and Chad Fitzpatrick, and all those people out in the field are really great. So hopefully we can get a win this season. That's my goal, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, having watched you for a lot of your career prior to Evergreen Speedway and the stuff you've done, you're used to winning. You've got track championships, you've got track records, all through the younger stages of your racing career. So we're all kind of expecting at some point in time that you end up cracking victory lane. Would be a really cool thing too.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while though. I mean, I'm getting hungry for a win. It's been a little bit.
All right. Well, let's take a look back. Let's see what happened on opening night here at Evergreen Speedway as we flash back to the Pro Late Model main event. We're going to pick this up a good chunk of the way in. This was a 75 lap A-main, so this is a lap 31 restart as we're watching Naima Lang and Dawson Cox right in front of you, and that's you in the 78 car inside row 2 with Chad Fitzpatrick outside of you. Kyler, this was a great night of racing. We had 7 different lead changes over the course of this, and we're about to see some real shenanigans happening up front.
Oh yeah, so I mean it was a huge rookie field this year in the Pro Late model. So I mean, Haley, last year that was you as a rookie. You know, it was only you, Kate Home, and a few others. So what's it like coming up here and you have more experience than a lot of these guys behind you? What was that kind of thought process going into it?
I definitely felt a lot more comfortable going into opening night since I already had a season under my belt. But right now you can see I'm driving with a lot of great drivers. Dawson and Naima, they were on the podium quite a bit last year, so there's a lot going through my mind just watching everything happen as I go to pass for the lead right now, which was pretty crazy.
So we watched Dawson get into the corner, and Naima gets loose. Both of them have to shuffle out of line, and all of a sudden, here's this big wide open door. You step right through it, and you're in the lead. What's going through your head right here?
Well, when you see things like that, you obviously have to take advantage, which is what I did. And right now, I'm just pretty much running for my life because this is the first time I've been in the podium position since my rookie year, and I'm just trying to stay smooth and keep it in the lead.
So as a young driver, you came up through some dirt racing and mini sprints in particular on a little short 6-mile track at Deming Speedway where things happen very suddenly. Do you think the suddenness of how quickly that gap opened and your experience in there helped you translate and be able to, okay, cool, there's my spot, I gotta go?
Yeah, I definitely think it's helped me a lot. When I'm racing the micro sprint, it's really fast paced, so it helps me see those opportunities and be able to take advantage when I see a gap like that. So it's definitely helped me a lot.
Now, unfortunately, right here, we're going to watch you lose the lead to Chad Fitzpatrick. What happened going into corner number 1?
So my car was getting a little tight. The front tires were getting pretty hot, so it started pushing. And I just made a couple mistakes, which if you make one mistake, that's okay, you can recover. But once you make another, then people tend to catch up to you, and that's what happened there. And I'm just trying to hold on as Nema passes me as well. But still staying in the top 3 is my goal at this point.
Is there anything that you can learn by following Chad and Nema at this point?
Oh, of course. I know Nema's had a lot of laps around this track, so every time I get behind them, I just try to follow along and see what they do in that situation, just to try to better myself and see what they do differently.
So now we're going to flash forward a little bit more, and you have a mirror full of Thomas Stanford, who's one of the strong rookie contenders this year for the Rookie of the Year, and he laid the bumper to you quite a bit. We had a lot of fun watching this battle develop because the 19, he wasn't afraid to kind of stick it to you, and you weren't afraid to throw a elbow back too. So we saw you guys banging down, thinking it'd be next time by on the front straightaway. It looks like you might have turned a little bit left into him. How hard were you really trying to battle the 19, keep him behind you?
I was trying to keep him behind me. I love racing like this, side by side. I was just trying to stay ahead of him, obviously, but obviously love to see some good racing side by side like this. But
we talked about the outside line here, and it's a line that you used a lot early in the race. A couple of the highlights we didn't see was how good you had been upstairs. Now you're kind of forced up there to battle for your podium life at this point in time. Did you have the confidence that you could continue to keep your foot in it on the outer groove?
Yeah, I've raced on the outer groove quite a bit, so I have some confidence. I can usually make it stick up there, which is pretty controversial because I know a lot of people don't know how they feel about the 970s and going around the outside, but I've made it work a couple times, which has kind of helped me grow my confidence by being able to go in on the outside and trying to make it stick.
So here you've driven back around Thomas on the outside and getting into this corner. Ooh, it's a pretty heavy tap. Is this the point in time? Are you getting frustrated?
Well, obviously when you get tapped like that, you get a little frustrated, and as you can see, I kind of start driving over my head a little bit, but I have my dad in my ear, and he's a great spotter and helps me to calm down, so I start to gather it back up and try to get around him again.
And a little payback getting into 2, it happens, right?
Maybe a little bit of retaliation, but not trying to take him out or anything, just a little love tap.
So your dad, Joe Constance, a Northwest champion, a guy well-known in racing circles, right there with you as you're making the move back to the inside. Is he hyped up? Is he amped? Or is he cool, calm, and collected as you're passing back for third?
He's pretty calm. It's very rare for my dad to get amped up on the radio. He stays super calm. He barely talks, actually. He lets me take control most of the time, unless it comes to something I shouldn't be doing, and then he'll get on me. But
and then there's on the flip side of that, do you ever hear your mom when you're inside the race car driving? Because she's not a very quiet person. Do you hear her more than your dad sometimes?
No, we kind of have a general understanding to not have my mom on the radio because that might mess up my game a little bit, and any racer knows that something as small as somebody else getting on the radio can screw you up, even if it's just subconsciously. So we have a understanding, and she stays pretty calm and collected. So
that being said, you have an awesome support system, and mom and dad, little sister Brooklyn, older brother Spencer, who's out, and a great crew as well. And third place finish on opening night. You've got some big things coming out in store, and next race coming up very soon. You're hoping to improve on that third place result.
I am. This has been a great start to the season. I went to the Apple Cup in Tri-Cities and got a solid top 5, so we're just hoping to carry this momentum throughout the rest of the year and see what we can do and hopefully get a P1 this year.
Big Pro Late Model race coming up next week here on Home Track Heroes, and tough field expected once again. Kyler, I'm expecting to see a 78 car with good results again.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, after a hard battle with Thomas Stanford like that, how much confidence does that really bring to you as a driver, knowing that you're able to work that outside line on a little bit older tires too, and the tires have been like run and slid sideways from being pushed sideways, but you're able to run down, run them back, and be able to pass them for that third spot. So how much more confidence is you as a driver moving into this next race, or the second race of the year here?
Yeah, so just finishing good like that in general and racing with people like Nema Lang and knowing I can get out front for a little while at least, it's definitely helped me carry some confidence going into this next race, but just kind of want to stay humble and not let it get to my head a little bit too much because, you know, after you start doing well, it can kind of go to your head. So I have a great support system, like you said, and they all help me out. I can't thank my crew enough for helping me on race days, and my dad, like you said, he's a great guy. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, we can't thank you enough for joining us here on Home Track Heroes, making your TV debut. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out for a couple of segments with us.
Thank you for having me.
You will get to see Haley and the stars and cars of the Pro Late Model Division coming up next week, next Sunday here on Home Track Heroes. Haley, Chad, Nema, all those guys and girls doing battle once again. That's going to be a great show on Home Track Heroes. We'll also have mini stocks. We'll have Pro 4 trucks. We're going to have legends, outlaw figure eights, and super stock figure eights on a loaded show. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a show that you will not want to miss. I mean, we got 4 different classes on 3. It's Pro 4 trucks making their debut. I mean, saw Riley Riddell tonight. He's trying to continue that dominance he's shown all year. And the Youth Hornets now transfer over to a truck. We got the Cox family as well, the Wilkinson family, Staples in the truck series, and it's just going to be a fun show. I mean, I'm excited to see those guys back out there, especially the legends, too. I mean, how can you not love the legend class?
Right. The next time you can come out and watch racing live at Evergreen Speedway, it's DriftCon. That's coming up the next time that you guys can be here. We'll have Pro Late Models next time. You'll be able to see them live for yourself coming up on May 7th. So that's going to be a ton of fun as well. We got all kinds of great things happening here at Evergreen Speedway. And for more information, everybody should check out evergreenspeedway.com.
Exactly, yeah. And here's a huge shout out to everyone that makes the TV show happen. Thank you guys so much for watching, tuning in here on CW11. We will see you guys next week for some Pro Late Model action.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.